A night in with MauLer and the drinker, getting trashed with the web's free thinkers. A cheap night cause I'm feeling kinda thrifty, got a 10-pack of beers and a bottle of whiskey. Hop up the cork, have a glass of wine, plus they'll say I'll be fine. Trouble walking in a straight line, but pour me a Pinot Noir. It's open bar with our hosts, MauLer and the critical drinker.
All right, woo! I love it. Here we are.
Welcome,
everyone.
Christmas episode, right?
It's our Christmas special, kind of. Yeah.
Oh my God, Christmas!
It is actually. I should start with a slightly somber note, everyone. To be honest with you, this is our final episode of Open Bar for 2024 because we're not going to be doing one next week. We got you there. So obviously the next one would have fallen on December 26th. I think we're all going to be far too drunk even by Open Bar standards to be streaming that night, so we'll give you a break. And so
you can't understand the language we're using. It's no point, we decided.
I guess to the point where I can't even understand what I'm saying, and that's no good. So yeah, we'll take a break over the holiday period, and then we'll come at it fresh again in January. I think that's the way to go. So this is our final Open Bar of the year. So this is our kind of chance to talk about a few things that have come up just this week and look back on the year that's been. So it's also, I guess, our final time for recapping the year that was. Or at least...
God.
Yeah, so in this case, I don't know if you can do this more because it's a while back, but cast your mind back to the year of our Lord, 2023. This being Open Bar 123. In that year, I was trying to find something vaguely interesting in terms of news headlines. Vinyl actually outsold CDs for the first time since 1987.
Yay!
They made a comeback. I don't think that was a reflection on the popularity of vinyl. It was more like the collapse of CDs. But you know what? You take your wins where you can get them.
Vinyls are just cooler. They got the cool factor now. So,
they really are. Reject modernity and embrace tradition.
Exactly.
I'm all in favor of that. It was also the year that Prince Harry graced us with his autobiography, Spare, in which he talked about losing his virginity to, and I quote, an older woman. Now... history does not record whether she was bought and paid for, but either way, it gave us this glorious quote. I mounted her quickly, after which she spanked my ass and held me back. One of my mistakes was letting it happen in a field just behind a busy pub. No doubt someone had seen us. You classy boy, Harry.
Yeah.
We've all been there, bro. Don't worry. And also, I love this one. Apparently, an MRI machine in Wisconsin caused a woman's gun to fire, which shot her in the ass. Unbeknownst to the medical technicians, she had actually taken a concealed weapon in with her for an MRI scan. The magnetic, I guess, waves caused the gun to discharge, and it shot her in the arse cheeks. Which,
unfortunate.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where it's like, I kind of feel like you brought this on yourself. Did you really think you were going to have to defend yourself in an MRI machine?
I mean, you never know, right? You could get attacked by something in there.
I mean, I guess, yeah. What was that? There was a horror movie about that, I'm sure.
Probably.
Yeah. Was it not? Wasn't it? It's Malignant or something that happened in. I could be wrong.
I feel like I would have remembered an MRI scene in Malignant, unless I'm maybe not the true fan that I thought I was.
A lot of crazy stuff happened in that movie, man. I'm only beginning to scratch the surface of it. But either way, in terms of movies, it'll not surprise you to know that the biggest movie of the year was Barbie at $1.4 billion, which is...
What a movie it was.
It was a movie of all time, that's for sure.
Oh, yes.
Second place, actually, was Super Mario Brothers, which was 1.36, which, again, I don't know. People almost forget that movie even happened. Probably because it got buried in the summer movie season, but yeah, it made 1.3 billion.
Still not a shock to me in terms of making money. Mario's a huge brand. They've been looking to... It's so much damage was done by that 90s movie, man. In terms of like...
Yeah.
it reminds me of what's happened to Star Wars. It's like, oh, we can't make money from movies, to be sure. It's just like, it's Mario. It's like hyper popular. Just fucking animate it.
I remember watching the 90s movie when I was like maybe 10 years old, and just being really confused. Like, did I pick the wrong film? Like, is this?
I never understood what it had to do with Mario. As in, like, obviously you get the characters and stuff, but I was always trying to figure it out in terms of like, how the fuck would anyone have concluded this is where you take this? But in a way, you kind of have to respect it for its boldness in being absolutely batshit retarded.
There's a great quote from John Leguizamo talking about this, where Bob Hoskins just took him aside at one point, like midway through shooting, and just said, I'm actually a classically trained actor. just completely dejected. Like, and I'm in this.
How much did you get paid for it, though? It must have been a decent amount, right?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, he probably did the Michael Caine thing, and just like every so often just do an absolute payday movie, even if it's total garbage.
Yeah.
But yeah, the year also gave us Oppenheimer. You might remember that. Halfway decent,
I do.
Almost just shy of $1 billion. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. It was a movie. And Fast X, 704 million. That came in.
Everyone's favorite.
But yeah, it was the year of DC movies as well, man. We had Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, garbage. The Flash, garbage. Shazam, Fury of the Gods, garbage. And Blue Beetle.
Oh my God, they were all in the same year?
Yep. 4 movies in the same year. That was just, I don't know, man. It's like if you're really sick and you're like, I've got to get this out. So you just take like Turbo Lax and just
I was going to say, that sounds outright illegal that they did that, but, who am I to judge?
We also got Indiana Jones and the Dial Tone of Density.
Ugh.
That made 383 million, which I think was less than its production budget in retrospect. So, yeah, there's that.
Mm-hmm.
But on the plus side, we also got Godzilla -1. So,
hey, what a banger!
So yeah, a bit of a mixed year, I suppose.
And you know,
anyway,
that's an upswing in some ways in certain years.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. Tell you what, though, should we bring our bar in?
No, let's leave them out.
Yeah, we'll just chat for the next 3 hours.
They're fine. They're having a chat back there, I'm sure. It's great.
Well, anyway, welcome everybody. And we want to bring in our panel so that we can discuss things that are actually going on in the here and now. So, welcome to the open bar. Nerdrotic, Chris Gore, DarkHour, and the Outcast Creative. Hello, sir. Hello, gentlemen.
Hello. MauLer. It's Mario. Not Mario. It's Mario. Get it right.
What are you going to do?
What am I going to do? Correct.
What
are you
going to do?
It's going to come to Wales, man.
Do what Americans do. Improve everything you created. All right?
You wish.
About to start a whole last war here. This Christmas, guys. We're supposed to be here.
Merry Christmas.
Oh my God.
What happened to goodwill to our fellow man and all that?
I have plenty of goodwill. I'm just going to give you shit, too.
Mario wouldn't want us fighting.
Mario.
Okay?
Mario.
He's a merry man, that Mario.
He is. Well, I feel like we should all be merry today. You know, it's the time of year.
I'm going to inflict my Santa hat upon you. There you
yes!
Go.
Perfect. I actually couldn't find mine for this.
I look like a member of a Dr. Seuss movie. You said the theme was red tonight, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Check out these bad boys then.
Yes!
Oh my God.
I didn't get the memo.
Yeah, MauLer
going to a rave after this.
I've seen your rave videos, Lance. There's something else. They're special.
Oh, mate. Well, you know, got to dance. You got to dance.
Lance might not look like it, but he's a partier, man. I've seen it.
That's
ecstasy. I go dancing every weekend. It's my gym.
Well, thank you guys for coming in for this and joining us for this last open bar of the year. It's always a pleasure to have you all here. And I suppose the big news of the day and the week probably is the release of the first teaser trailer for Superman.
Oh, yeah.
So, this has been hotly anticipated. We've been hearing a lot about this, and I guess the entire fate of DC on film pretty much rests on this movie at this point, and in a wider sense, comic book movies in general.
Movies in general, and possibly Hollywood.
So,
no pressure on this movie.
No pressure.
No worries, James.
It'll look really bad if Superman fails. just to say.
I mean, if that can't sell tickets, you got problems. Like, he is the quintessential superhero. And I guess I'd be interested to hear your guys' thoughts on it. Should we go clockwise? Would that work?
All right.
Sure.
Might as well do it. MauLer, hit us with your insights.
I was whelmed.
Mm.
I watched it and I was like, all right, well, looks like we've got us a movie on our hands. That's good.
Fucking, here's the fence and here's you. Like,
well, I mean, I just didn't feel strongly about anything that I saw. I was like, this is all very expected. There's some neat shots in here. There's also maybe some less than preferable choices for, like, there's a lot of discourse happening. Everyone's very ready to be mad or ecstatically happy. The
Welcome
thing for
to
me
DC. Welcome to DC fandom.
yeah.
Don't ever
I mean,
change.
I mean, I'd imagine they've had a lot of sadness and madness over the past 10 years, so there's not a huge amount of
No.
joy and optimism. So
it's what can you say? You know, it's like, well, I guess we'll have to see how this is all going to turn out. But I guess I think I'm more positive than negative. I'll say that. I'm like, all right, this could be fun. I'll figure out more that I want to say the more conversation goes on, probably, because I just didn't have a lot of a reaction to it. You know, I guess it did what a teaser does. It teased me.
what about you, Gary? What was your thoughts?
I have a video coming out. I'll break down like all the things that are involved with this movie. It's so much bigger than just a movie. What's going on here? But ultimately, I thought it was all right. Thought it was okay. I like how you said whelmed. That's a nice unintentional callback to Young Justice, MauLer. Somebody in the chat will understand what I'm saying. But yeah, I think whelmed is a good description. I think, like, let's compare it to 28 Days Later trailer, or 28 Years Later trailer, which was trailer perfection.
Yeah.
And what it did was set a tone, like an emotional tone for a movie, so you know what feeling you're getting into. I think they tried to do this and it got messy. I don't think it hurt itself at all. Like, it didn't hurt the movie at all. I would give it, like, I thought it was fine. I don't think it dispelled any of the concerns people had with all the multiple characters they show in. It got a little messy, and I just want to acknowledge that we are talking about a teaser trailer, but and we are going to break it down meticulously, because that's what nerds do. So I'm unapologetically doing this. And I think some of the characters look good. I think some didn't. Guy Gardner's haircut, which is going to be a lot of people are going to talk about that. It's bad in the comics. They just made it look worse here. And I didn't like Hawk Girl's costume at all, but there's some other stuff I did like. Mr. Terrific looked good. Metamorpho looked good. I think David Corran's sweat, I got to say his name. I think it looks good. I hate the costume, the collar. I like everything else about the costume, but I don't like the collar. But it gave you there's like one scene that's fucking great in it, and it's him saving the girl. Him saving the girl should have been the entire trailer.
That's Superman. That's Superman doing his Superman thing right there.
Yeah, I like that shot.
Nice
I like that shot. I have to say, I like that shot.
But yeah, the discourse around it. Sorry, the discourse around it you're going to see is completely normal. We have the Snyder fans who are going to just hate it. They just are. We have Gunn fans who don't like the Snyder fans, and we have overall DC comic fans, and they're all over the place. The DC comic fans are more passionate than Marvel fans, and they've always been like this. What's interesting is DC has brought into film what they've done in comics is complete confusion. Despite having rebooted for this technically the third time, you could argue more, in 10 years, rebooted the character of Superman for the third time in 20 years. We don't know. We have a main DCU, but now there's a Batman thing going on with Penguin, and now they're going to do a Clayface movie. And it's like, you're not doing yourself any fucking favors trying to streamline anything. And what they should be concentrating on is just making a good Superman movie, which I hope this is.
Chris, what did you think?
Like MauLer, I was whelmed. I think Alan Ng on Film Threat this morning said it best. He said it needed to be a home run. It was a double, so not a fail. It was very good, but it was not stellar. It wasn't. And we went back and rewatched Superman Returns trailer, Man of Steel trailers, those were all better, I would argue, easily. When you compare them, if you watch James Gunn's trailer and those other trailers, those were better trailers. Lesser films, potentially. We don't know yet. But I also agree with Gary. This is not just about a movie. It's about saving this industry and the genre of superhero films. And more importantly, and bigger than that, is the culture. Since 2000 and since 9/11, we have gone down a dark path where rates of teen depression, people ending themselves, young people, and I think we're resistant to most of the mainstream media propaganda, but being propagandized to the point where about climate change, where kids are ruining great works of art and gluing themselves to things. Morons. I really think since 2000, the world has become more dystopian, more authoritarian, and dark. And it's reflected in our media, in our heroes. And Superman is a return to the classic hero, to the point where we got in this discussion, Gary, earlier this week. What is a superhero? Does Hollywood even know?
No.
And I hope that this film restores the ideals of what a true superhero are, because none of us will be Superman, but we can aspire to what Superman represents: truth, justice, the American way.
And the American way.
All due respect to you, Brits.
Hey, you don't have to apologize to us. That is one of those things that even I can get behind and say, "Fuck yeah!"
Also,
America.
the world is more than America and Britain.
Yeah, that's true.
You have to apologize to everybody that's not American. I think we're okay with it.
But
Team America.
I'm going to be American and not apologize at all.
I really believe that we're in a dark and confused place. And if the results of the recent election say anything, it's the popular vote is we want back to a time where we actually loved this country. Back to a time where we were optimistic about solving problems instead of screwing with our future and what is possible. So I choose optimism. And I think everything I've read from Gunn, you can look up the statements. There's a good story in Variety has a quote about what his intention was with the character. I'll look for it.
He said a lot of good things. He said a lot of positive things. Peter Safran is the one who dropped Truth, Justice, and the American Way. You're right. He's also James Gunn needs to be off social media, because he's also said he took a shot at Snyder fans in the Variety.
Oh no,
really?
He did, and he tried to correct himself immediately. But even Variety's like, now, some people might think that's a shot at Snyder fans.
Yeah, but that's why I mean this movie's important. I mean, the film industry, we should do I wonder if there's some numbers we can get about
Sorry,
total...
let me correct myself. Took a shot at Snyder, not Snyder fans.
Oh,
right.
Snyder. Okay. Sorry, I had to correct myself there.
I don't know if you're aware, but in America in February and March, the Harry Potter movies are going to be re-released, the first 4, to theaters. What is the total box office this year combined of re-released films? I'll bet that is a significant. Yeah, it's significant. So I sat in a screening earlier this week. I saw Interstellar, a 10-year-old movie, packed in an IMAX theater on a Tuesday, packed.
Shit, man, we're a culture just living on repeat at this point. Where
Correct.
Gamers are playing old video games, people are watching old movies. Fucking 90% of the modern pop charts are just remixes of older songs.
Yes,
it's what we're doing. Like, just
none of
reading old stuff.
Modern entertainment has turned into stadium rock, to pop rock. We're rolling out the 80-year-old Rolling Stones, what's left of them, for the 50th freaking time. That's pretty much what tentpole movies are now.
Yeah. So bottom line, whelmed. Thank you, MauLer, for that.
Yes,
we were
MauLer.
Comprehensively whelmed. DarkHour, what about you? What did you think of it?
Well, those are several takes that are hard to follow, but I'll go from the beginning. The first thing that I noticed, and a lot of people have been talking about this, is that Superman starts in the Yamcha pose, as people like to call it, the down on the ground bleeding to death, and I think that's actually an immediate reaction that they're having to. A lot of people have this issue with Superman where the common complaint is he's indestructible. And it makes it really hard to take him seriously because it's like, okay, every villain's going to just be no problem for him. And they immediately get rid of that. I think that is a fantastic decision. It's going to be 50-50. I feel that a lot of people are going to say one way or the other, but I think it's a great idea to just immediately get it out. He's not indestructible technically. And once again, I agree with Gary. It is just a teaser. Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. We don't even know really what the plot is. There's some sort of alien entity. There's, obviously a lot of characters, Hawkgirl, Guy Gardner, Mr. Terrific. I think Gary said another one I didn't even catch, to be honest with you. What was the other one? Yeah, I didn't even catch that one. Yeah. And that's probably my biggest problem with the whole thing. This is the first movie in this new set of films, whatever it may be, what do you want to call it, a universe, whatever you want to call it. And one of the biggest problems with the previous one was trying to catch up to Marvel, add all these characters, bang, 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 all of them really quick. And they're doing the same mistake, in my opinion. Crypto, fine, whatever. He's connected especially to Superman. Would I like them to wait a little while for him? Probably. But he's 100% intrinsically connected to Superman. The rest of these characters, most of them from the Justice Society, probably don't need to be there. Guy Gardner specifically is probably the least popular of all Green Lanterns. Nathan Fillion was born to play Hal Jordan. I don't know why they didn't just use Hal Jordan. Maybe because they figured that the haircut would get more eyes and people would make fun of it and stuff. Maybe it's like one of those counter marketing concepts. But I think that's probably the biggest problem is they're already emphasizing universe. They're already emphasizing more. And really all people need is Superman. And maybe it's only because it's a teaser trailer. It's a short amount of time, and they put it all in there. Maybe they're not as big of a deal in the movie as we see it. But as for the other thing that a lot of people talk about, the look, it's clear that they're going with an inspiration from the New 52 look, which is a little scary because there's really only one good New 52 storyline, and that's Batman. And other than that, it's really something you should stay hands off of. But that being said, the good things, they brought it back to, there's color. That's fantastic. Snyder was really bad with that. He loved muted grayness, which is terrible. It looks less like brooding and more hopeful, which is good. That's what it should be. And to tell you the truth, I'm excited and hopeful that it will do well for them because I think a good Superman, a good Batman are the only way that it works. And I think that that's good for, like Chris was saying, for society. Those are two heroes that generally elevate people when they watch them. Spider-Man does it over in Marvel and maybe Captain America a little bit. But for the most part, those two have, for the reason why they've been the most popular heroes forever, is because people like to aspire to be one and relate with the other one. And that's it. That's pretty much it. I hope that that's the route they go.
No, I think that's fair. I think that's a fair analysis of the teaser. So thanks for that. And Lance, what do you think? What's your thoughts on this one?
Super Pooch. I mean, the dog. I want to do a fan edit of this trailer and do a trailer called Super Pooch because I feel that's a film I want to see. Oh man. Okay, so you're talking to a guy who saw Chris Reeve's Superman at the cinema opening week, and I saw Superman 2 at the cinema opening week, both completely full houses. We were all really invested. And the thing I liked about Superman 2, and I'll say why this is relevant to this trailer, is that although there were 3 villains in that, they were all in their scenes together. They felt collectively as one villain. They functioned as one villain effectively because they all had slightly different powers. Zod, the big guy who didn't really speak, the mute, and Sarah Douglas's character. Yeah, thank you, Chris. But for me, this is already way too many character overloads. We got Green Lantern. Was that Hawkman? I'm not familiar with all of these people, but I counted, I think, 4 different other superhero or supervillain characters in addition to Superman. That's just too much stuff in one film. You know, when Tim Burton did the first Batman movie, the thing that made it really great was it was just Batman and the Joker. The second film, which was the Penguin and Catwoman, I felt was slightly weaker. Why? Because we had to explain the backstories to two villains. We had two villains. They had less screen time, and then they kept adding more and more as they went on, and the films got weaker and weaker. It's much better when there is just one villain and a story focused around them and the protagonist, the main hero. That's kind of what I want to see in a new Superman relaunch. I don't want this to be, hey, this is Superman, and by the way, Justice League of America is coming, so we're going to introduce you, 7 or 8 other setups. It just feels now that it might be that a lot of that stuff's just been put in this teaser, and what we get is we might get what I'm looking for. I don't know, but yeah, I don't know. So I'm sort of, I like the tone of it. I think Dark Hour's point about opening with him looking vulnerable is kind of cool. I like that. Agree on the colors. The colors look nice and poppy, which is what you want with a Superman film. But yeah, I'm kind of, the jury's out until I've seen it, basically.
Okay.
So there you go. But Super Pooch,
thank you for that.
I want to see a Super Pooch movie. Sure.
Yeah. I mean,
maybe like a Super Pets movie not that long ago. It was animated, but
yeah. Secret Life of Pets. I saw that.
I mean, obviously everyone's like giving their thoughts on it, so I won't take up too much more of your time with this one. But I will say I had two major fears going into this with James Gunn at the helm of a Superman movie. One is that it was going to be some ironic, self-deprecating, self-aware piece of deconstructionist subversion. Kind of like fitting and right into the groove of what he did with Marvel, and none of it takes itself too seriously, and it's all, isn't it all very funny and ironic that we're trying to be heroes but we're not really, all that stuff. The other concern that I had was that James Gunn seems to be in his element when he has a team of misfits joining forces to go and do a job. And that seems to be how he writes stories. He likes a lot of characters that he can play off each other. They can spark off each other in different ways. And it felt like that was just wrong for a Superman movie, because Superman should kind of stand alone. He shouldn't have a bunch of other people that he teams up with for something like this. And so watching this trailer, it kind of allayed some of my fears and confirmed some of my other fears. Like, I think with the first fear about it just being, ironic and self-deprecating and just isn't all this superhero stuff a bit silly, didn't seem to do that. It actually seems to take itself pretty seriously, and it seems earnest, which is goddamn a fucking rare thing in any Hollywood movie these days. I felt like it was actually trying to portray a heroic Superman doing heroic things, and that was nice. And that was just a nice breath of fresh air. So that was fine. But the other fear about he just needs a massive ensemble cast, that I suspect is going to be reflected in the villains rather than the heroes. Which again is just, okay, I get if it's Superman, you're going to need a whole bunch of people to try and team up and take him on, but it's going to perhaps result in character overload, which we don't really need in a movie like this. Lex Luthor is a pretty intimidating antagonist if he's used correctly. His power is in his mind, his ability to outthink Superman. That would be an interesting dynamic to explore.
Yeah, good casting. Good casting with him, actually.
Yeah, he looks good. He looks good. The overall aesthetics, I think, look great, and they kind of reflect what I would imagine the comic books look like if you try to make them into the real world, so I feel like this is a fairly comic accurate version that we're going to see. And I don't know, I feel like James Gunn does get the essence of what makes Superman work. I'm just not sure if it fits quite with his actual abilities as a filmmaker, but we will see. As MauLer said, I was whelmed by it. I think people going into this were looking for a clear narrative. I think they either wanted it to be fucking spectacular and it was going to blow everyone's socks off, or it was going to be absolute dog shit and then we can all laugh at it. But it's kind of a little bit in between. It's a little bit inconclusive right now.
Yeah, I think those unrealistically high expectations we all had for this trailer and this film are fair. are absolutely fair. Don't come out saying it isn't fair. You spent $330 million supposedly on this film. You've pushed it as a relaunch of another universe. It's the third reboot of the character in 20 years. It's the third reboot of DC in 10 years. You've been hyping this up. You're damn right. We're going to have very high expectations of this. And it's because you set them, DC and James Gunn. So I don't think it's don't get on the fans for having high expectations. I didn't think it would suck, but I don't think anything's really changed as far as concerns.
I think it's also
just on the topic of Guy Gardner, the Nathan Fillion's portrayal. The fact that we got a couple of seconds and everyone's very madly talking about it. Was I alone in the impression of? I saw the expression he was making. Obviously, a huge fan of Nathan Fillion in general, so I'm happy to see him in literally.
I'll see if I can bring it up while you're talking there.
So he's just a fantastic fucking actor, and just from his 1 second facial expression, I got a whole impression of like, I doubt this is even close, like remotely to a team up film whatsoever. And that wasn't there speculation that we're coming into a world that's already, hit the ground running essentially, and that we've got a team of heroes that likely includes Guy Gardner, Hawk Girl, and Mr. Terrific, and that they're probably not doing a fantastic job, or rather a more corporate job. Superman's going to come in and probably, maybe at some point, make some kind of mistake. This is what this scene looks like to me, where Superman's done something that's interpreted badly, or that he's done something that had bad repercussions, and that Guy Gardner's coming in to maybe shout at him or something. It's like,
whether this is gonna, I mean, like, and I haven't read any Steph, I haven't read any plot spoilers, but it's a hodgepodge of JSA and Justice League International, right? I liked Guy Gardner, and Justice League International is one of the best comic book runs ever. And yeah, he's that facial expression gives you an idea of that's pretty much Guy Gardner from the comic books. That's
a little weird that they chose Guy Gardner, though. You would think they would have went with Alan Scott, considering the fact it's clearly a JSA that they're trying to go for, and it's a little weird that they chose Guy Gardner.
It's JSA, but it's Justice League International style costumes, and I think it's the rumor we heard of like a reverse Kingdom Come, all right, to where there are heroes there and they're fucking up, and it's Superman who comes down and kind of shows them how to be heroes. Well, I think the biggest mistake is introducing the Authority. He mentioned bringing the Authority in the DC Comics is the worst mistake. He's
Gary.
I think it's all a problem.
Did you say it's Hawk Girl in the trailer?
Yeah, it's Hawk Girl.
I thought you said it was Hot Girl in the trailer, so I was looking for a hot girl in the trailer for like
she's supposed
10 minutes.
To be hot. You can't tell.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it was the same with Lois Lane. It's like, I'm not sure I'm feeling that one.
Yeah.
Like, what do you guys think of David Corenswet as
Sweat? I think he's fine.
Doesn't look terrible as Superman. He looks horrible as Clark Kent. That's
he looks like Hassan Piker with that freaking muffin head Edgar hairdo,
bird's nest haircut. Yeah.
I mean, we might be in a situation where this movie is vastly superior to everything that's come out in the last 10 years, but we have an inferior Superman. It might be a weird combination of that. Like we unfortunately missed out on a good movie with Cavill as Superman. We might end up getting the lesser, the whatever discount store you want to say version in a better movie.
This is the kind of like, I look at him and I'm just like, we've got Henry Cavill at home, and this is what we get. Like,
it's just the teen version.
He's really young, and maybe just doesn't have the sort of chiseled look that you would expect with Superman. I don't know. It just feels like a bit of a discount version of Henry Cavill. I kind of get why they had to recast. Like, they didn't want to be saddled with the baggage of like Snyder's DC,
unless it's James Gunn Snyder stuff.
Then it's
Peacemaker
fine.
And his wife and casting his brother as Maxwell Lord.
Yeah. I mean, I've got my own thoughts on that, and weirdly, people seem to defend him on this one, and I'm like, no, fucking Sean Gunn's not a good actor, and I don't know why you keep casting him in fucking everything.
I don't mind him as mocap, but like obviously his role as Kraglin is kind of like, well, he's just.
I remember it, like, because I talked to you about this before, where it was like I didn't know the backstory to it at the time, and it was just like, why is this like random, like unnecessary character eating up so much screen time? Played by a not particularly good actor, and then it's like I find out later, it's It's his brother. Okay.
It's kind of funny because that always I knew who Sean Gunn was before I saw Guardians 2. So like that process, I was just like, yeah, that makes sense because who he is. But I like the idea that the other way around, that would be much more of an annoying shock, wouldn't it? Like, why does this guy get so much screen time? It's like that's his brother. Like, oh, okay,
yeah.
You know, Superman, the actor that's playing Superman, is married to Julia Best Warner. I'm just saying.
No.
I don't know who that is.
Well, I mean, she's got the surname Warner, Warner Brothers.
Oh,
Studio,
okay.
you know.
Right, okay.
Those Warners, the money Warners, got it.
Yeah. So, you know.
I didn't put two and two together there. I'm sorry.
I mean, these big jobs, don't forget, they pay a lot of money for life. If you get cast as Superman or you get cast as a supervillain in one of these films, you're talking about a paycheck for life, whether the film bombs or not, because you've got conventions and you've got this and you've got that. And that goes through one of the top tier agents in Hollywood, this guy will be with, who is attached to one of the top tier production companies, one of the top tier studios. So it's money going in the front door, coming around, going in the back door. Chris knows what I'm talking about. These roles, casting these roles, the politics involved in this will be massive, massive, massive. You know, so don't think that like 40 people came into a room that were unknown and they went with a complete unknown guy who came from a trailer park. You don't think that guy got the job, do you? That doesn't happen anymore. You know,
Drinker,
this role is worth millions.
The one thing about this trailer that really made me kind of turn my head sideways was the Jonathan Kent casting. From what I can see, I think you just passed it like a second ago.
Oh yeah, that guy is usually cast, or
that guy was in
usually
Constantine.
cast. He's in Constantine. Yeah, he always plays psychopaths.
You only see like a second of him. It's a really
because I didn't get,
you
can only see like the back of his the side of his head. Let's see if we can bring it up here.
He's in Walking Dead as well, I think, season 1.
He's a good actor. He's a good actor.
Doesn't look like a person who's running a whole farm. It looks like, maybe
I will see if I can bring it up here. Like, who is he? Alan Tudyk's in it.
Alan Tudyk's in it.
He looks like he'd be running a farm. Sure.
Yeah, his name is Pruitt Taylor Vince.
Pruitt Taylor Vince was in Mississippi Burning. He's a fantastic character actor. He's been around.
Ladder, JFK, The Mentalist.
I've been trying to get him on my channel for an interview, actually, funnily enough, and he does the convention circuit quite a bit. So he's been around
Holy
a long
shit,
time.
he was in Red Heat, man.
Yeah. He's been around a long time, that guy.
I think he's going to be able to pull off the homely, warm father figure.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Oh, I'm sure acting-wise he'll be fine. The look is what's kind of off for me.
Well, he looks like he's most likely to die by a heart attack, so that's probably accurate.
Diabetes, I think, type 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't judge his acting ability on his look, but I mean, we're not seeing any acting ability here.
It's not what we've seen from Pa Kent lately, including the last one, which was Kevin Costner.
I'm waiting for him to like pointlessly sacrifice his life in something that like he absolutely didn't need to die.
Drinker, have you?
Yeah, I know.
I saw this tweet. If you can pull it up, I thought it was pretty funny.
Right, hold on.
Maybe that's how they should have ended Yellowstone. That should
yeah.
Kevin Costner just putting his hand up and then a tornado sucking him. Right, that's how they should have ended Yellowstone.
Oh, fuck. This is probably going to be a heartbreaking scene where Pa Kent reveals to Clark that he's going to get sucked up in a tornado later and die.
I think this kind of actor is more how I imagined Superman's dad should be, though. You know, Kevin Costner.
I guess, like, I mean,
I'm fine with both.
He's not.
Yeah, I never had a firm view in my mind of what Pa Kent should look like. I feel like he could pretty much just be any older guy.
He's been in the past. He's been drawn like the Pa Kent from Superman and Lois. You remember that Pa Kent? That's pretty close.
I like the Smallville actor, John Schneider, I think.
John Schneider.
Yeah, he was good. Yeah.
It's a little young.
I don't think
Glenn Ford, man. Glenn Ford.
There's a lot of actors, I think, or like a lot of ways you could portray that character, I think, as long as you just got to nail the characteristics. Because farmers come in all shapes and sizes, right? Look at them go.
They do.
I mean, they generally come in larger sizes, to be fair. You know, they eat well. But yeah, I think it's fine. Like, it's too early to tell, I suppose, how good a job the actor is going to do, but I imagine it'll be all right.
That's the case with all of them, though. We heard one line of dialogue right there. That's the exact spot that you just happen to land on. There's no dialogue other than that, and it's mostly a whistle. So
yeah, this part I liked Crypto.
What is
I
yeah,
did.
like, you know, help me out here because I'm not too familiar with Crypto from the comics. So is he like a super dog, basically?
He's a super dog. He's
Yeah,
Crypto
he's
the
a
super
Kryptonian
dog,
dog.
and he could fly.
mean-
He's normally like a labish type of dog. They
Yeah, like a
based
white
this one
lab.
off of James Gunn. But yeah, that's dude. It's Superman mythology. I'm fine with that being in there. It means they're embracing the comics.
Well, I would
and-
also go as far as saying I think it's deliberate for the general upbeat vibes of
Yep.
like, it's a dog, it's a cute dog.
Everybody
Yay.
loves a
James Gunn
dog.
does
Come
that,
on.
Bring it
though.
up here.
Which
There we
James
go.
Gunn does that a
You
lot
do-
with animals and trying to get to the younger crowd, appeal to the women. He uses animals in that way. It's super common for him.
Well,
in his
how many
There it
people
goes.
complained about these fake CG animals dying in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3? It's like,
Well,
come
don't
on,
forget,
people. They're fake. Come on.
Yeah.
It was sad, but I thought it was actually best part.
He's done. He's
Well,
done
yeah, by
goofy
far,
little
yeah.
characters in a lot of movies, but I guess you could say like, yeah, but this is a different context. I think this is somewhat of a bit of a risk having
Sure.
a super dog, and it'll be interesting to see how it's contextualized. I
You
know a lot.
better
I've seen a lot of
not-
people
Better
already.
not fucking kill him.
Dude, he pulled off
No,
Rocket.
you-
I remember when Guardians came out and nobody had heard of it, right, at the time. But at the comic shop, we're like, how in the fuck are you going to pull off Rocket Raccoon, man? That'll be phenomenal if you pull that off. And nobody thought he would, and he did. So
I remember
don't know.
saying, Gary, I remember saying that exact thing to people. I said, if this character is done right, because when it was coming out, a lot of people were asking me because I was like my resident comic expert for a lot of my friends, and I was like, if Rocket Raccoon gets done right, everyone will love him, and I was right. He's just there's certain characters. First of all, animals automatically are easier to associate for people to accept. We as humans are weird. We would rather animals survive than humans. It's just the way we are. But whenever they do that, if they nail it, it just works so well, and the synergy of it just going forward is perfect.
Him and Groot totally stole that film as well.
Oh,
the
yeah,
first Guardians.
definitely.
Yeah.
I have other nitpicks. The cinematography is not great.
It's kind of bland.
It's very bland. I mean, I like the color, but really,
The
I'm
shots
not
are just kind of really pedestrian. They're not terrible,
yeah.
but they're pedestrian.
They seem basic. And also he's doing that thing, that super wide angle lens on action shots that he did in Guardians. I did not like that. And he's using it here, and not a huge fan of it. So, but
Works
yeah,
for
like
some
that right there,
shots.
that shot. Just, I don't know, like it's kind of weak on the
Well, I'd
the
say-
It's something. It
what?
works for some shots because it gives you the feeling of being further away from it and coming toward you. But I would assume that would be better
Keep it
for
paused
like
here for a second.
in air shots rather than on
here's-
ground.
Here's where there's a lot of discourse already, and it's normal. It's totally normal. People fighting about this. This is normal nerd shit. But if there's any concern of like woke, right? So you see a scene like this in universe, it would totally make sense for a new Superman to not be liked by people. This powerful thing flying around, we don't know. So like that's fine. It's what are they going to attribute to this group of people that they clearly state is going to be in the film, right? Are they going to make it? Are they going to cling to modernity and make it an allegory for a certain group of people in the United States, or are they just going to like leave it be? Right. I think that's important. I don't think James Gunn is that fucking stupid to bring in modernity into a Superman movie. I didn't see anything woke in the trailer or anything like that at all. That's ridiculous. But if people are concerned and speculative, you should be. Fucking Hollywood's earned it. Like they don't deserve the benefit of the doubt on anything, not even James Gunn. So I mean, you can have your speculation. I just don't think he's that dumb.
I think I agree with you. James Gunn, I think, at least has his finger on the pulse a little bit with what the fans want and what the general mood is. And I think he knows, like, we can't
spends
we can't
time
do
on the
this crap
internet.
anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this.
A little bit.
This looks like the internet going after Superman. That's everyone represents the internet. I just like that we're getting a Jimmy Olsen who's a redhead. Who saw
he's
that
white.
coming?
yeah.
White. He's white. Lois is white. Jimmy's white.
You know what?
Very
You know
white,
what
not
bothered?
white.
You know what bothered me in this trailer though is when this guy hits him in the head with the can and his head moves a little bit. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I noticed that too. Yeah.
It just a little bit, but it's like that wouldn't do anything to Superman.
Yeah, and he wouldn't blink when he got hit. He wouldn't even feel it.
Yeah. That's just I know
One thing I will say
nitpicking.
about James Gunn, anybody who's been able to work their way up from the obscurity of the Tromaville films up to this has got to know at least a little bit of how it works. You know,
Getting racist dog.
the dog is white.
Hey,
Yeah, normally it's a white lab.
We were talking about the way it's shot and some of the choices. Drinker, if you go to, I think it's 2 minutes, it's a shot of Mr. Terrific and then an action shot. And I really hate to say this, but there's a moment there with how it looks where I was like, man, that reminds me of The Flash.
Oh, no.
Oh,
No.
no. Hey, wait. That's the greatest superhero movie James Gunn has ever seen.
He was inspired. but to be clear, right? I'm not being like, there's loads of shots I really like. But this little moment here in general, I was just like,
it does look like, I know what you're talking about. It looks like in the middle of a field fighting things. Who's crouching down there? Is that who's crouching down next to him? Lois?
Sure. Could be.
Can't tell.
Yeah,
yeah.
I think.
What about Lois? What does everybody think about the Lois casting?
I think she looks good. I think it's good.
Yeah, I think
Lois.
Yeah, because
can't really say from the trailer. There's not enough. I need more.
Well, just I'm just going to say
what was it? Because like Margot, was it Margot Kidder back in the day?
Yeah,
I mean, you know, she's a good actress and stuff. Not exactly like super hot or anything. So like I can get that like Lois is a little bit more understated. That's okay. And this one's fine, I think.
The old guys here will explain that Margot Kidder, not super hot, by the way, but was considered 70s hot. Okay.
Yeah,
70s hot
were different in the 70s.
I get where you're going with that, Gary.
Yeah, that was a type of beauty that was very popular in the 70s. So
I don't think
more natural, I suppose. More natural.
I don't think Lois has to be the hottest woman on the planet, though.
No, they can't be like Erica Durance is the hottest Lois. Okay, period. I know Terry Hatcher's like 1B, but
like technically, if Superman wants to, he can get any super hot woman he wants. He's more attracted to Lois Lane as a person, individual, what she stands for, which is what he embodies. It's what the person on the inside is, and that's always what he's been. Because he himself is, like we said, he's basically the perfect individual. So for him, that's not necessarily the thing he's interested in. He's interested in seeing what a person who isn't like him is on the inside. And I don't mean with his X-ray vision. I mean like as emotionally. But that's one thing. You don't necessarily have to have Lois be this insane. Because if he wanted, he can go get Wonder Woman, who's in the greatest shape ever. And so there's and he does in certain versions.
Yeah,
so I
people are pointing out Amy Adams.
Make her more of a working class hot. I like that.
Working class hot. Yeah.
Amy Adams wasn't a good Lois Lane.
She's pretty hot though.
She's hot.
I was
hotter than Erica Durance, like in her prime.
Yeah, I was going to point out as well. I'd forgotten that Nicholas Hoult was in The Menu. I knew I'd recognize them from somewhere. I was like, where the fuck have I seen you?
Bro,
like,
you are obsessed with The Menu. Like
I know, but it's like he shaved his head and now he looks
motherfucker.
Like,
you saw Ray Fiennes and said "guy from The Menu." And I was just like, Jesus, like, he's been in so much more. Nicholas Holt's been in so. It's fine. You know what? If you'd said Beast, I'd almost have a problem with it because he's the worst Beast out of the two, of course. But I just want to say I like Nicholas Hoult and a lot of stuff. I've been it's weird because I was watching Skins when that first came on TV. That was when he was like super young. So it's been interesting to watch him like basically become hyper actor, A-lister. But I was gonna say, I've just been informed by Capital Opinions. The same cinematographer as The Flash is for this movie.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. Now
no,
recognize the look.
It's like,
I guess he truly thought The Flash was a great film.
So, dude, and he brought in his composer from The Suicide Squad, James Gunn, and I'm like, are you kidding me? So they decide to embrace the John Williams theme, which everybody should. It's the superhero theme, and then they make it a guitar. So it's like, and they try to make it sound like fucking Top Gun. Okay, so they tried, and James Gunn said Maverick was part of the inspiration, Top Gun Maverick, for this film. So
James Gunn loves.
It didn't hit for me.
James Gunn loves his 80s throwbacks though, so I could sort of get the guitar thing.
Well,
I'm just really fucking glad they didn't do a sad, slow piano version.
I was going to say it breaks tradition somewhat of sad, slow piano, so at least we got that.
I want it to be bombastic. I don't want it to be like this apologetic, sad, like, here's our like washed out, sad, nihilistic, bleak, depressing, like forgettable version of this original awesome track. You know, please accept it.
Yeah,
I want it to be like over the top, like boom,
Dude,
this
straight
is
up
Superman.
use
He's a
the
hero.
Fucking John Williams theme. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
It's been used. It's the theme, just like the Bond theme. It's the theme for Superman. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
And it would have hit so much better than just some guitar solo.
Yeah.
Everyone in the chat is saying how this is Agent 47. I just want to acknowledge that it does
Yeah,
have a very
it
Agent
does kinda
47
look
look.
like it. Yeah, it does.
Just because he's well dressed, bold, and has a gun.
Yeah, that's pretty much the standard for Agent 47, MauLer.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, look what happened with the fucking Hitman movie. That was regrettable. You don't just make Timothy Olyphant bold and you get Hitman. It's not that simple.
So that's our lowest line there.
Yeah, she's like not a 10, okay. But
Working class hot.
nobody.
She's
in
a
the chat-
Scotland 10, but you know, no.
Nobody in the chat's throwing her out of bed. Okay,
Almost.
stop it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Working class hot. Like she would be the hottest woman in the at the Daily Planet. That's what it would be. Most of them wouldn't look like that. So
Yeah.
She's probably got a
Well-
great personality. Okay, Jesus.
Yeah. But you know,
does the weird stuff.
she's a career lady. That's
You
what she
guys
does.
know her, right? Like she's been in a decent couple of things. She was in House of Cards. The actress, I mean.
The chat's throwing up ratings now. God bless them.
it's like an average of about 6 or
It's so,
7.
like, look at the
Average.
duality of man here. It's like we've got 6, 4.
Yep.
Kansas
where's
City
the-
8. That's
Waiting for
legend.
me. 6, 8.
She's a
Eight
Staten
for
Island
me.
9. That's for damn sure.
She's a Staten Island 9. She's an IGN 7.
Oh, this one's the most
Oh.
brutal. 3 out of 10. That is
Wow.
harsh. That is
Oh,
harsh, man.
dude.
That guy lives in LA.
Not even
100%.
close.
That guy lives in
It's
LA.
like
Not even
My
close.
favorite are the ones that people are saying like 7.3. Like, how specific are we getting on these ratings, guys? Like,
I appreciate specificity. I mean, they actually they must have their abacuses
Oh,
or
no.
whatever the hell they're doing the numbers and they're breaking them down.
On a scale of like Zendaya to Sydney Sweeney, I'd rank her way towards Sydney Sweeney. rather
Towards
than the other.
Sydney Sweeney, yeah.
Yeah.
But Drinker, last week the internet decided Sydney Sweeney's not hot anymore. And then
Oh,
they
yeah.
came back.
That was
Thank-
fucking bizarre. It's like you saw her without makeup. Like, this is shocking news, right, gentlemen? But women do not always walk like they're on the red carpet. They don't always have like ball gowns on and full hair and makeup and everything done. It's crazy, I know, but damn, it's like she was in a bikini and she still looked hot as fuck. And people are like, oh man, that's it.
why are you even
The
looking at her
bubbles burst.
face? Like, what the hell? Don't worry about the face. Don't worry.
Yeah, it's weird. The internet is a
Sydney
strange
Sweeney.
place, man.
Does she even have a face? I don't think she has a face. I've never noticed.
I've never heard her speak. Or maybe I did, I don't know.
You watched Madam Web. She spoke a line in that, I think.
She did.
Yeah, I feel like that movie
she?
did not use her to her full potential.
It did not.
They must have strapped them down somehow. That's brutal. Why would you do that? Just before we go on as well, actually, someone sent a $200 super chat. So thank you, my friend. It was Soma Kalium who says, "Hello all. I hope you're enjoying your week. I recently got to visit St. Patrick's Cathedral in New York, and its majesty reminded that men are indeed capable of creating great things, even in times of struggle. A very Merry Christmas to you all, and cheers to a new year of greater things." Thank you very much for your generosity, my friend. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I've been to St. Patrick's Cathedral in New York. It is incredible. Great place. And very impressive.
Did any
Men
of
are
like 3
capable of
blocks.
creating pretty fucking incredible things.
Did any
Just
of
don't
the
venture
panel
like
ever
3
read
blocks
the book?
outside of St. Patrick's Cathedral. Once you go a little bit away from it, it's a little shady. Other than that, when you're in the vicinity of it, it's fine.
Go check
Yeah,
out the cathedrals in the UK. Those are amazing.
Ours are a little bit older, to be fair.
Little
And
older.
better, but you know.
And
I
they
didn't want to bring
still,
that up.
and to this day they cannot duplicate what they did back then.
Did
even
you
with the
guys
same
ever
line.
read the
Yeah,
book-
but they used to
book
take about
Cathedral?
200 years to build. That was the problem back then. Go to
Guys,
go
have
to
you ever
York,
read the-
Gary.
there's a
Next
book
time you're in the UK, go to York and see the cathedral there. That I've never seen anything like that. And I've been
I
to
will.
Notre Dame in France.
I'll be there in a few months, buddy.
There's a book called Cathedral set in St. Patrick's Cathedral, and it's basically Die Hard in St. Patrick's Cathedral. It's a massive bestseller in
That's
the
fucking
early
awesome.
1980s. Look it up. There was a Hollywood bidding war for the script for that book before Die Hard was made, and when Die Hard came out, that's what put the kibosh on that movie.
Wow.
I
So
can only
yeah, look it
imagine.
up. It's a
Like,
book
and
called
I'm an Infante
Cathedral.
affiliate.
It's got somebody with an AK-47 on the front of the standing on the front of the.
Now they
steps
can
of the-
remake it with Zendaya.
So
yeah.
there you
Finally.
go.
Yeah.
We
Is it
should-
true that Daisy Ridley has been in
Yes.
a movie that's basically Die Hard?
There's the trailer that came out recently.
Oh,
it
I've
looks
gotta
so
see this.
embarrassing.
Oh, can we watch
gotta
it?
see this.
I
Can we watch
Oh,
it?
Was I
guys.
supposed to watch the trailer with her? I
Uh,
didn't know that. I was unaware.
Did you
of
watch
that.
Drinker? Did you watch Polo?
yeah, I watched the first episode
watched
of it.
the
That
fir-
was
oh.
all I could stomach.
Dude,
The fuck is Polo?
Polo is produced by Harry and Meghan, and it's a documentary on polo, and it plays out like Best in Show. Like it's supposed to be serious, and it's really bad. It's pretty funny, but I couldn't stomach more in the first episode.
Yeah, it's because it's like they're trying to do Drive to Survive, but with polo instead of Formula One.
With polo and a bunch of rich douchebags. It's kind of funny.
I'm gonna see if I can bring up the Daisy Ridley trailer and
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the chat
I
really
wanna
wants
see
you
this.
to. Everyone's saying
Kalina.
show it.
The thing is, I don't know how much I can show without getting.
Does Disney
Do the
Disney
10-second skip thing. where
does she
you don't
does she fight everybody with her giant head?
Swallow everyone up with her mouth.
Imagine her and Ryan
There-
Kittle in the
there's-
same room. It's like sucking gravity from each other.
they start orbiting each other
Yeah.
like a binary
Yeah.
star.
I think it's with Daisy Ridley. I think it's
Just kidding,
most
Ryan. I'm
terrifying
sorry,
when
buddy.
she smiles. There's like a very high teeth to face ratio in her case, and it's quite off-putting. But
Well,
all right,
they
let's do
didn't
what
have
we
her
got.
smiling that often in Star Wars, so it didn't really affect that. You know,
Yeah,
it
she's got-
elevated that movie a lot. Those movies a lot.
She's got the scowl going. Let's see what we got here.
Let's go. Daisy Ridley action. Oh, it's a Red Band trailer. Holy shit.
All
Yeah,
right,
let's
go.
brace yourselves, boys.
In a city in New York. It's Christmas Eve.
It's a
Is this called the window washer? Please
cleaner.
tell me it's called the window washer.
You were late
The
again,
cleaner.
so you still owe me an hour. Get in.
I'm pausing this for completely unrelated reasons. It's not to avoid
No,
copyright. or
you
anything.
talk about the window washer. I would love it if it was called that because we've had like the
Yeah.
accountant and the beekeeper and the bricklayer.
Honestly,
for
honestly,
real.
man,
these-
we need to call it the window liquor.
Somebody said well,
By
that
the
would be
way-
the sequel. The guy on the inside of the building who's trying to get to her. Ah.
Yeah.
By the way, Quiver Distribution is a really small company.
We're hearing reports of an incident at the
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. Daisy Ridley's not exactly an A-lister these days. Not a big draw.
Agnian Tower.
Oh my God, Clive
Oh,
Owen!
Clive Owen is
What are you
the Alan
doing,
Rickman.
bro?
Why you doing live? No.
999, what's your emergency?
Are you
999.
fucking kidding me?
Well, that's the UK.
Oh, that's the UK one.
That's
Okay,
the
I'm sorry.
UK emergency
999.
number. Yeah. 999.
Yeah. Oh, is that Canary Wharf there?
It is. So this is Die Hard in the UK.
Oh, wow.
Bring
that's
it-
gonna be
Die Hard
great.
on a
Bring it on.
scaffold.
A country
like
that doesn't have guns.
I was going to say
like-
awesome when all the cops show up with pepper spray. It'll be
That's
fucking
right.
great.
Well, we do have
No,
armed
they'll
police.
be like, the cops can't come and get
I
you
know
because they're
you
busy
have-
arresting people for memes.
I've seen your cute little armed police walking around. There's like
Yeah.
6 of them.
Yeah. Any of them in the West End with assault rifles.
We're going to shine a light on your crimes.
I haven't seen Clive Owen in anything in quite some
Cheers.
time. Look at
Yeah,
him
he's
there.
been
Look at him go.
Gone
He's
for a
having
while.
fun.
Yeah.
He's like, I was in Shoot 'em Up.
He's
I
like,
was in.
"Hey, I got a paycheck."
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got the look of Charles Dance in like a really shitty movie that's not making use of him. But
Oh, I feel I have to do a
Last
fan
action
edit of this trailer.
Great to have you on board.
Any attempt to gain access, the whole building explodes.
Oh, that's the guy from One Piece.
Oh.
Which guy?
Oh, why am I blanking on his name now?
One of the cleaners. Final.
Okay, Joey, get a grip.
Turns out she's an ex-Navy
Your
SEAL.
brother needs.
oh, fuck off!
No, that's the Die Hard shot.
Fuck right off. When it said it turns out she's an ex-Navy SEAL.
Ah.
Wait,
she must
is
be
that
the
true?
she must
No,
be
I
be
just
her.
said that was
Casey
me, Drinker.
Ryback's Casey
She's
Ryback's
Drinker, that was me.
sister.
Well, one, she's British. Two, she's a woman, which means she can't be in U.S.
Drinker,
Special
that was me.
Forces.
I said that. That was my voice just blended in with the trailer.
Oh, fuck.
I just have a really good trailer voice.
It was.
Sanji from One Piece.
Also, she makes a hell of a peach
Okay.
cobbler.
Ah, perfect.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean
That's
to do that, man. I'm sorry.
Put it down.
Girl fight, cat fight.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
she
cool.
must. Well, yeah, clearly she must be some kind of like CIA or special forces person because you can't fight like that if you're a window
MI6.
cleaner. Yeah.
You underestimate window cleaners.
Or MI7, whichever one is the international
If you
one.
can
I'm
do
not
better than
sure.
the last 3 assholes you sent.
Almost like I record commercials in my videos all the time.
Cleaner. Ex-army.
You got this, Troy.
There you go, ex-army.
What, like territorials?
Oh,
She was in the cleaning
I
crew
love
for
you.
the kitchen.
I know
Yes.
this guy.
It's like
I know-
ex-army, catering corps.
I know
She used to clean
Taz.
the knife.
I know Taz who's in this. So
Really?
now I'm going to be able to get some info.
Lance knows someone on the cast.
Two of them
This,
actually.
this is a Netflix
people.
movie, right? They're not actually going to release this in movie theaters, are they?
Yeah, this is like a movie from 1 year ago.
First I've heard of it.
Right,
Be
hold
the
on, let's
last.
see.
Be the last to see the cleaner on Netflix.
Right. So,
So did it get released? Has it been out? Like, what's the
Quiver
story?
is a very small indie company.
Yeah, but has this movie been out for a while?
I don't
or-
think so.
I don't know, but I think I have a screener of it. I'll find
Chris
it.
Gore probably saw this before you did, everybody.
Chris
Yeah,
Gore already
still-
forgot he saw this.
Like sifting through his stuff, like, oh yeah, here it is.
I'm just gonna do
Yeah,
the rest of the
I have
trailer
the
with my
screener.
voice.
Chris,
haven't
I'm
watched
coming to your house to
Oh,
watch
okay,
this,
yeah.
if you know what I mean.
So it's going to get released in the UK on Sky Cinema, so you know it's quality.
Okay.
On a network
so-
no one's ever seen
February,
before.
February 21st in the US.
Right.
I'm
Okay.
counting the days.
Yeah,
A
it's
week
dropping out.
after Valentine's Day.
Let's see if we can get to the end of this nightmare.
Smoke without fire, right?
Clive Owen hasn't done shit for years.
I've got what he
Maybe
wants.
it'll dethrone Captain
no
America
people
4
out.
at the box office.
You want to hang this whole operation on a window cleaner who couldn't hack the army?
She's got really good Windex in her bag.
I was never there for you. This time I'm not gonna let you down.
It's quite literally the exact scene from Die Hard.
concentrate.
Don't stop. Takes my mind off the massive wall and the dickheads with guns.
You know, you know what made Die Hard so awesome and compelling?
It
John
wasn't made
McClane
today.
Well, that, yeah,
Yeah.
and people smoked indoors, but also
Yep.
John McClane was just an average Joe. You know, he's just a beat cop. Yeah, he could use a gun, but like he wasn't like an ex-special forces like army guy who could take on like 10 terrorists simultaneously. And he was shit scared. He was shit scared through most of the movie, but he was doing it because he had to. And that made him a super compelling character. And this is just what I would expect from casting Daisy Ridley in a film like this. You know, she's basically Steven Seagal, but without the beer gut.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Well,
all
that
it
is
is.
an-
It's
that's-
like
that's an
she-
improvement, surely.
she will be in charge of every situation. She'll be awesome. She'll never falter. She'll never show fear. She'll be amazing at everything, and she'll just clean up.
I want to do a movie marathon of all the movies named after mundane jobs, like the bricklayer and the accountant, and the cleaner
yeah.
and the beekeeper and the Uber driver. I want them all.
Uber driver.
Taxi driver. That's a bit better. Yeah. Oh well. There.
It's
Yeah.
got
that was-
21
that was time travel,
producers. 21 producers on this movie. Just
Oh,
so
that's
you know.
all?
Yeah.
21.
That's a typical episode
21.
of Star Trek Picard and Rings of Power.
Lucky 21.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Things are always great when they have 21 producers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Here
Are
we
they
go.
all
Like-
producers or are they executive producers, Lance? Because like executive
thing.
producers just put up money and don't give a shit for them.
Well, producers can do that too.
Well, executive producers don't even put up money; they just kind of attach their name to it, and just get the rewards. But yeah,
Well-
it says here when activists take over an energy company's annual gala held at the Shard in London, some more radical members of their group take hostages and then threaten to blow up the building if police intervene. So there's like two sects, I suppose, of the bad guys. A dishonorably discharged but highly trained ex-soldier who works as the building's window cleaner attempts to save the hostages when she learns that one of them is her older brother.
Yeah, I saw that the brother kind of, drug addict storyline in there. Steve Begg is the second unit visual effects supervisor on this movie. He's a man with impressive credits, so the visual effects should be good. That's all I can say about that.
Is there like a whole subplot to the? I guess Chris has kind of disappeared, so he can't tell us. But is there like a whole subplot about how this is all she can get as a veteran? She has to clean windows. I wouldn't be shocked.
I only have the screener. I haven't watched it because I've seen about 7 other Daisy Ridley movies that no one can remember. She's not a draw. That's why this sequel trilogy, Ray movie, or whatever you want to call it, it's not going to happen. I don't believe it'll happen.
She's a Star Wars. She's a sitcom actress.
The Star Wars brand is hobbled, and no one cares. And Daisy Ridley did not flourish after the sequel trilogy. No one cares.
Well, here's her filmography, right? After Rise of Skywalker, which was 2019. That's almost 6 years ago now. But anyway, since then she has done Asteroid Hunters. She was a voiceover narrator for that. Chaos Walking, no one watched it. The Bubble, no one watched it. She was just a cameo in that. Sometimes I Think About Dying, The Inventor, The Marsh King's Daughter, Magpie, Young Woman in the Sea, We Bury the Dead. Can anyone name any of those films?
I've seen a couple of those, and it's sad. She's just not a draw. And Young Woman in the Sea, they were pushing for Oscars. It was an awards consideration. It got 0 nominations in any category.
Doesn't she just swim across the channel?
Yes, it's a true story. It's actually a really good story. I'd rather
swim naked across the channel. That might have helped the movie. Okay,
I'd rather
Daisy Ridley, bro. It's not that big of a draw.
The story's really good on Young Woman in the Sea. It's just it would have been better as a documentary, I felt. But anyways.
Let me ask you guys as
majority.
Oh, yeah.
I was gonna say majority of actors aren't draws. Overwhelming majority of actors are character actors and things that they're not box office draws. Yeah.
Let me ask you guys as well. We've seen War of the Rohirrim now that it's out. Yeah. What was your experiences with it? Because man, what a fucking missed opportunity that was.
Can I also remind everyone it's the 23rd anniversary of the opening of the Fellowship of the Ring, Lord of the Rings movie.
Today.
19th of December, it opened worldwide, had its premiere on the 10th of December at the Odeon Leicester Square, and it ran there exclusively until it opened then worldwide on the 19th. I saw it at the first public screening on the 11th. And man, what a screening that was!
Here's what they gave away at the Cannes Film Festival when they
there you go. Oh yeah, well they did the really long. They did the really long sort of 30 minutes or something. The first 30 minutes of it. Wow, you got a copy of that. That'll be worth a few.
I wish I was there for that. The first 30 minutes of Lord of the Rings, just like as a preview, that would have been so cool.
Well, seeing it with 1,200 people who are all just chomping at the bit to see this movie. The atmosphere was just incredible. You don't see films with that kind of atmosphere now. War of the Rohirrim, there were like 8 people there.
Yeah.
So,
there was that many?
Was that?
Many?
My screening had precisely me in the room.
Anyway. Yeah. I was all by myself as well.
Yeah,
my screening was about 8 inches to my left on this screen right next to me.
But having seen it, like I think this honestly feels like it should have been released just to Netflix or something. This was not a theatrical.
No, this was to retain rights. That's all it was.
Yeah,
and that's how much effort was put into it. Normally, an animated project like this takes 3 to 5 years. They did it in 3. They hired 60 different companies to finish it up, and it looked like that. The animation was choppy at parts.
Very inconsistent look to the film.
Yeah, because sometimes you can tell, like, oh wow, they really mocapped people well with this. The characters move like in a nice, natural, fluid way. Other times, like they are like blocks of wood, like they don't even move.
It's like it's dropping frames.
Yeah,
like,
that's what it looks
Yeah.
like. Yeah, and
Could
like there's
someone
no
explain to
consistency with
me-
it.
Could someone explain to me how we have the problem with night scenes in an animated movie? Because that caught me off guard that I couldn't see shit in some of the night
Well,
scenes.
you couldn't see anything, and it was a cartoon.
Yeah, I was like,
know,
how
what's
have
up
you?
with that?
What are
It
you
was an
doing?
artistic choice.
Yeah.
No, it's they were rushing it out to retain the rights, and if they made any money, great. But dude, the girl boss shit was just insufferable, absolutely insufferable. Fucking, and it's because it was done in a nicer way, in a more presentable way. Like she's not, fucking annoying like Guy Ladriel. She likes her brothers and her dad. She's just nothing, and she's a massive Mary Sue who can do absolutely everything. And the reason, if you want the hardcore fandom who read that part of the appendices to come in, we'd really love to see Helm Hammerhand kill people with his bare hands one by one in the long winter, which we didn't see at all. Not one. He was unseen during that whole thing, and that's the meat of that fucking story. And instead, it's these things are so fucking bad now we can predict it. When I was joking around and said, "Oh, it's going to be the Battle of Hera's Deep," that's what it was. That's what it turned out to be.
Well, it's the fact that Helm, because as I understand it in the original lore, like Helm is driven to like almost madness with the death of his sons, and he goes out on like sorties to like murder the enemy soldiers in the middle of the night, and he perishes in the midst of one. Like he has a battle in the snowstorm, and like he's fighting till the bitter end and just dies from exposure, and he's frozen in place. Now it's like he has an opportunity to escape into the Hornburg, but he doesn't do it for reasons so that like Hera can take over, because apparently she's going to be a better leader than him. Then he just closes the door, even though he totally could have made it through. Why? Just because the writers decided it was time for him to die. It's so fucking lazy and predictable. It's just garbage.
And they made the sons inconsequential. Holith and Hama.
They're barely in it.
Yeah, they're barely in it. Hama dies in the books he gets, like everybody's starving, so he leads a sortie out into the snow to get food, and then he just disappears. And then it's the grief of losing his sons, which they kind of put in there, but they turned, instead of the grief of losing his sons, it was what you just said. It was so he could apologize to his daughter and say he should have listened to her, and then sacrifice himself for her. Completely changes the story.
The running theme throughout the whole movie is like everyone should have listened to Hera the whole time, because she was right about everything. She's an expert in the matters of warfare, logistics, military strategy, tactical advances, combat. Like she knows all of this, even though she's never had any involvement with any of it throughout her life. She just can do it. It's weird because I think the more offensive character in some ways is Alwyn, who's like even better than her. She takes charge in every situation. She's like a shield maiden who's about 50
shield maiden
years
becomes
old.
a fucking general. She's like, dude, they had that scene with the lords of the council, who all fight, by the way, are all
they're like
in
breaking
a
down
room.
and crying because they're
it's
like, what do we do?
Fuck.
I mean, if this film had been released off the back of the trilogy, right, regardless of the content, whether people liked it or not, the cinemas would have been absolutely packed. You can tell how tarnished this IP is now because of the 2 seasons of dreadfulness we've just had on Amazon. There were no girls in the screening that I went to, and this is a film targeted at them, and they weren't there.
Mm-hmm.
So
much like the gaming industry, these studios who are making content for the Lord of the Rings franchise need to come to terms with the fact that the majority of their audience is going to be men. I'm sorry. I know that's offensive to your modern sensibilities, Hollywood, but that's the way it fucking is. Yes, I'm sure there's plenty of female fans for Lord of the Rings out there, but the majority of them are men, and they want male-oriented stories. If you're going to do a story that's about supposedly Helm Hammerhand, we want it to be about fucking Helm Hammerhand, not his unnamed daughter who suddenly becomes core to the narrative. And the funny thing about this movie is it starts with the question of why does no one remember Hera? And it ends with the same question, and it can't answer it. Because there's no way to make it work.
There's like, she single-handedly saved Rohan. How would nobody remember? And then she rides off to go see Gandalf. He wouldn't bring it up.
I expected them to say, we're going to go and see a grand elf. Right?
Oh, God.
Ah!
Christ. There is multiple storylines you could use from the Silmarillion and the appendices that would be great. Nowadays, if they did Baron and Luthien, they make it about Luthien's fucking lesbian sister. You know, like it's just incompetence. They don't really care. You're right, Lance. Like, there's been a resurgence of Lord of the Rings back to that goes from it's been 20 years since the release of the greatest trilogy ever made. And if they did something right, it would have you would have been printing money instead of making the correct business decision and adapting something that might be somewhat familiar, that's still male oriented. They decide to we need to fix everything wrong with Tolkien. That's been the approach from Amazon. And now it's the approach of Warner Brothers. And you get the same fucking result. You don't know better than Tolkien. None of these people should be trusted to write a fucking grocery list, in my opinion. Like, they should never work again if you fuck something this up. You have a fucking map. You have the appendices. You have the goddamn book. Just adapt Tolkien with respect, but they don't know how to. It's the same thing with the question with Superman that people are asking right now is, does Hollywood even know how to make a hero? Do they have a concept of what good and bad is? And they don't.
Yeah. If they'd stuck to the known lore and Jackson had directed this, animated, live action, claymation, whatever, this would have been sold out at least for a week.
I agree.
At least for a week.
If this had been a story about actual Helm Hammerhand and the siege of the Hornburg, and it had been live action, this would have done crazy numbers. It would have been super successful. It's the exact tonic that people would need after Rings of Power. And goddamn, Warner Brothers are sitting on the rights there. They are sitting on the ability to do all of this stuff. That would have been their perfect answer to Rings of Power. Hey, here's the real Lord of the Rings. The adults are in the room again. Let's show you how it's actually done.
This is the best thing from the movie. This is the best thing from the movie. You got to make a movie better than your fucking popcorn bucket. Okay,
that's a popcorn bucket.
This is the popcorn bucket. It's awesome.
What do you do? Like, whack yourself over the head with it, and like the popcorn just falls over you.
Yeah, you just put it in there.
There's generally two ways that this kind of goes. So, what Drinker said, you take a male-oriented property, you try to gear it towards women. So it's a pretty standard idea. Make stuff for men, and women tend to like that still. There's a lot of movies over in history that have been male-oriented, and women are still universally drawn to it. And then you have like Barbie, where it's like kind of guys get dragged there in hopes that there's a whole situation like South Park where there's some subtext and all that. And when you take one of those two properties and try to throw it the other way, it never works. So why keep bothering?
Yeah.
Well, and it's so dated now. Like so much changed on the 5th of November, but the bottom fell out of this shit that Hollywood has been pushing, but all of culture has been pushing. And when we see something like Snow White come out, that's going to feel like it's 100 years old. Like, it's going to feel so dated and bad. And that's the problem they're going to have to deal with. Culture had been changing for a long time. They just had to finally stop denying it a month ago. And now we're going to be left with the holdovers for years. God, for games, it's going to be worse. Woo! It's going to be bad.
I'm just sitting in the background, just laughing my ass off at them. Like, you backed the wrong fucking horse there, boys.
We got the popcorn bucket and then walked out of the theater. You were smart. You were smart. It was the only thing worth going to. And usually those popcorn buckets are gone. And I got the last one. So I was like, God, at least it's worth the trip.
Yeah, dude, you still have 2 hours of your life that we can't get back.
That's right. And like you and me, we don't have much life left, brother. I mean, we gotta be careful.
Fucking morale -1 right there.
Thanks, Gary. Really glad.
Hey,
why bother doing anything? You're gonna be dead soon.
We're all gonna be dead. We just we gotta pick and choose what we do with our time.
Yeah. Honestly,
speaking of using your time not wisely, Chris, you have seen Mufasa.
Sadly, I have. Yes. No surprise. It's hot garbage for single-digit age children. It is the prequel that tells the story of Simba's father, Mufasa, and it's everything you would expect. completely forgettable. It's a 2-hour. I mean, there's several problems with this movie to begin with. One, why did they make it? Two, the live action animals are not they're not whimsical, whereas the original Lion King as drawn is very whimsical. These are like photorealistic animals talking, and that you can barely tell them apart. I don't know if that makes me animalist, because I can't tell which character is what, that line is that. I can't tell. It's one of the worst scripts. I'm not sure if you're aware who directed it. Let me tell you who directed it. A guy named Barry Jenkins. Do you know who he is?
Nope.
No.
I do,
He-
but because
He is the director behind the Best Picture Oscar film Moonlight, about a gay man that comes to terms with his sexuality, that won Best Picture in 2016 when
Nearly
they
didn't. Nearly
it's a
didn't
film
win it
about
when they
nearly
read out the
everyone in
wrong,
Hollywood.
read out the wrong film.
Yeah, that's the year
well,
that
they
that's
got
the
the
year
wrong
they gave
film.
it.
They said
got
La La
the wrong
Land,
film.
and then it did win. La La Land was the wrong film. Moonlight did win.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
So-
what I meant. They nearly didn't. They nearly didn't
Yes.
get it.
In any
when they read out,
case,
that was
if
so
you look
funny.
at his resume as a filmmaker, nothing says make this movie for children. He was cast as a director, clearly.
Yes.
And it's not, some of the lines are so bad. For example, one character, Simba's so upset with his character by the end of the movie, I'm not going to call you your name anymore. I will call you Scar, because you have a scar, right? I mean, I burst out laughing. It's so bad. And the movie is not, I can't say the script was written with AI.
It's got
but
three writers on it, Chris. Jeff Nathanson.
I got to make
Linda
my point here.
Three
It
prompts.
wasn't written with AI that I know about, but a lot of films these days have the feeling as if they were written with AI. Let me give you an example. Alien Romulus. And what does AI do when it comes to art? How is it utilized? How is it used in writing or whatnot? It's a randomizer. When you're designing your character for a game, I get impatient. I'm not going to spend 8 hours designing a character and their eyebrows and nose. And you know what? I click randomize. I like that. Let's go. That's what this is. The script was randomized of moments from the original Lion King movie, which is beloved, and I think is a really great film for its time in the early 90s. So many movies these days where this happens, but nothing matters. This is another one of those movies. It's 2 hours. They'll do well opening weekend, drop like a bomb, and this is just another crack in the armor that was once trusted brand, Disney. But it is 2 hour running time. Trust me, the audience that this movie is for, which is single digit age children, 10 and under, will be bored out of their skulls. So it's awful. It's, again, Disney can't do anything new. And why did they pick Barry Jenkins to oversee this project? Someone did him a favor. Someone said, hey, do you want to make a lot of money and you can just have Zoom calls with animators? It feels like how the movie was directed, like over Zoom. Because obviously you're not on a set, right? You're dealing with animators who are doing the real heavy lifting. But Moonlight, no one remembers that movie. The only thing you remember about that movie is that it almost didn't win because they said the wrong name.
Yeah.
That's the only reason you would even remember Moonlight. So it's god awful. I don't even know if you want to see it. I mean, is it worth seeing? I don't know. Gary, you probably don't care. But I see everything. It's so worthless.
It's weird
by
as well.
the way, one last thing. Disney knows it's bad. They did not even submit it for Best Animated Feature for Oscar consideration.
Right.
Okay. What does that tell you? So
says a
there's my
lot,
rant.
yeah.
Well, was it
You know
after?
what's
was it-
interesting
was
as
it
well?
after
Like
the period.
because you were saying like the target audience is like kids who are like in single digit ages, right? You would think if it's a Lion King property, like the target audience is going to be way older. They're almost going to target like the adults who are looking for the nostalgia hit of like the movies they saw in the 90s, and they'll take their kids along to go see it as well.
Yeah, what do they have a name for that? Disney adults or kidults? There's a new term, kidults. Kid stuff,
That's got very creepy connotations.
Yeah,
Don't
but I
understand
get it. Like I totally get it, but it's like it makes you feel dirty at the same time.
But there's no reason for this to ever have been made. It's another IP cash cow, and it's sad. It's sad the state of animation in Disney. And and like I said, the whole AI thing where I'm watching it and like it's not AI, it's a remix of the majority of the movie is remember Timon and Pumbaa, or what the fuck their names are.
Pumbaa, yeah.
You guys know their
Pumbaa.
names. Pumbaa, Timon and Pumbaa, whatever. And this character and that I'm like, you're just throwing out member berries of the first cartoon, which launched the whole thing. I mean, it's god awful. And God, even Alan Ng, who I on my channel on Film Thread, I do reviews with, he was like, it's profoundly bad. He was so angry. We did a live stream the very next day to talk about it. So he was so pissed off. But the Disney brand is dead. Not to mention, I'm sure we'll come up the trans character cut from that Pixar show.
Yeah.
We'll bring that up later.
That in a minute,
But yeah, it's Disney cannot be trusted, and this movie is dismissible, and you won't be talking or even remember it next week if it goes see it. So yeah, but yeah, there's something like we're the new like Alien Romulus. You can have a similar discussion. Like here's all these things you
shitty
remember.
Christmas for movies. Like this
Yeah,
is
it
like
is.
a particularly
Awful.
shitty Christmas.
Yeah.
The only thing worth a fuck to talk about is Nosferatu.
For sure.
Yeah.
With that female
Yeah,
lesbian,
Sonic
phenomenal.
3's coming out
What is
too.
that? That's
Gary.
coming out like Christmas
Sonic
Day
3.
or something.
Okay. Well, you enjoy Sonic 3. All right,
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah.
And I hope it's great. I hope it kills. I hope it beats Moana, Mufasa, whatever the fuck is out right now.
But
Sonic 3.
Moana 2 is doing crazy numbers, isn't it? Like that's
And that's also terrible.
Yeah.
And I could give the same review for Moana 2 as I just did for Mufasa.
Really?
Just change the name. Seriously, it's single digit age, forgettable songs, nothing memorable. Remember the last movie.
Wait, is Tumor and Pinball in that one as well? Or?
Yeah, Tumor and Pinball.
Tumor and Pinball.
I don't fuck.
Just say Pinball makes me think of fucking Con Air. Hey, Pinball!
The first
Has
movie,
everybody seen Lion King, the animated Lion King? Everybody
Yeah,
here?
fuck that movie.
Yeah, awful.
What, the live action one?
No, the first
No,
live
the
action one is
first one.
the
The
original.
first
Oh, the first
the
one's
original
amazing.
one I love.
2019
Yeah.
one.
the cartoon is very good.
Yeah, the original is
I think
amazing.
I-
Like,
I've never
watched
seen
the
it.
live action one. No,
I've never
Of
seen
the,
the
of
Lion
the
King.
9 films on at my local cinema, 7 of them are either sequels or re-releases or
That's pretty much everything that's come out
That's-
this year.
yeah.
Out of the
Yeah.
big tentpole releases.
7 of 9 films.
Out of the
That's-
tentpole releases this year, I remember counting it was like 43. 2 of them could be considered original properties, and one of them was Borderlands,
Yeah.
Ugh.
which was the first adaptation.
Robot.
So
The Wild Robot and Craven the Hunter are the two.
The Wild Robot.
Well,
That
that
was
was
nice.
good.
wasn't it?
Wild
Robot
Robot
was
was
good.
really good.
Yeah.
that
I
was
like
good.
the Wild Robot.
Craven the Hunter, not good.
One thing I
No,
do find
no.
kind of funny, by the way, is that the 2 movies that are going head to head today are Lion King, Mufasa the Lion King, sorry, and Sonic 3. The same complaint kind of happened with both of the previous ones. You had the original, well, not the original, but the first time they remade Lion King, and everyone was like, I can't tell the emotions on face. It looks terrible. The CG needs to be redone.
Yes.
They did not bother to fix it. It's the same in this one from what I've seen, because I was going to go see it for, review purposes, but I canceled because I was on this today. Then you have Sonic, which actually dialed back, decided, hey, we're going to fix this fucking problem. We're going to nip this in the bud, and it's actually been a successful series. So I find it funny that they are going head to head today. You have the one that refused to fix the problem, and they could have just did it in a sequel. They could have made them more anthropomorphic looking in the sequel, and they didn't. Or prequel.
Why are you saying it
And-
like the first one didn't make the most money ever? Like,
well, I'm saying, but they didn't address the
why would they?
The one main issue a lot of people had with it, which was that all of them just looked like bland-faced, just regular animals.
No,
They couldn't
you're
move.
right. Like from a creative point of view, you're 100% right. From a money point of view, no one gives a fuck because the
yeah,
movie
I
made,
mean,
like,
I'm just saying,
$1
I'm not necessarily saying that they didn't make their money. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that they had the data and the money off of the first one to fix the problem, and they didn't.
It is a creatively bankrupt, fucking soulless remake, that 2019 one. That it makes sense. This movie came as a result of that, and it made so much fucking money. They were like, let's just make a bit more. I don't think anyone actually gave a shit about the original Lion King.
That I think as well is a problem you can't overcome with essentially working with photorealistic animation. That's the problem you have. Like, you can't have an animal that looks like a realistic lion, but also has humanistic expressions.
Yeah.
Those two things are not compatible, and so you're never going to be able to overcome that problem. You either have to go hyper stylized, like essentially the original cartoon, or you have to go like super realistic, in which case you're going to get these weird animals with their blank faces, because animals don't have human emotions like that. And it's like, you can't get over that fundamental problem with live action. It just can't be done. This is the thing you can't work with, and that's, the original Lion King, or I say original, the Lion King live action remake lulled them into this belief that they can just do anything with that property and make a shit zillion dollars.
Dude, that thing making a
can.
shit zillion dollars was a nightmare for the future of Disney remakes. They were like, fuck yes, look at this. What else can we do?
Yeah.
And we've basically rolled out for all of them.
Everything. Like, they're just doing their whole back catalog again. That's all it is. And again, like, Cinderella, I think, was the first one that they did with live action remakes, and that was before the current era of Disney movie making, shall we say. So it wasn't woke, and it was just like a fairly faithful adaptation. Again, it did really well, and so that made them believe that they could do all of this again. You got Beauty and the Beast, and then they carried on from there. And like, it led us to the path that we're going down now, which is going to culminate in Snow White, which is probably going to kill the concept of these live action remakes.
Well, I'm wondering what they would even go with next. Like, what would be the next one for the live action remix? So that we have Snow White, so I guess Cinderella. Oh,
We've had Aladdin, haven't we? Like Hunchback of Notre Dame, maybe.
Yeah,
that's a risky one.
I'm trying to think. Nah, yeah, it needs to be one with cachet that they would attempt, and
be Bambi, won't it? Live action Bambi. God.
Yeah, but that goes down the same route as Lion King, where you don't have any human characters except for the one.
As long as they follow it up with Bambi versus Godzilla live action.
Yeah,
I'd pay to see that. Yeah,
I'd pay to see that. Sure.
I don't think there's no reason to make any of them though. They were all perfectly fine the way they were.
Well, they were, yeah. Like, and again, like, creatively, that's correct. Like, there is no reason to remake them because you're not going to top what they did before. But like, when you can essentially just take a property that's popular, has brand recognition, and you have the script already pre-written, you just remake it. Great, and you make $1 billion. Okay, everyone's
and that's
happy.
where this industry is in a lot of trouble. Even if it gets into this, we suspect a post-message era. Even if we have a post-message era, there are still massive problems to deal with. And we discussed it earlier. They're rolling out stadium tours of aging rock bands. It's an industry that's overall reached maturity, right? And their big thing to diversify was streaming, and they fucked it up every possible way they could. They have completely broken all of their old business models to where even if they wanted to go back to cable or broadcast TV, they can't, because they're dismantling this structure for that type of industry. So they have to go with streaming now. They have no choice, and they're going to shrink because of it. And most companies that will be in charge, Bambi -1, that's awesome. Most companies that will be in charge of Hollywood now, it will not be their primary focus. Hollywood will be a side hustle and a vanity project for much bigger corporations.
I was going to say as well.
Sharing. This is good. Drinker, if you would share what I just
oh yeah, what we got here. Sure.
I'd go see that. That looks good.
The internet never disappoints.
No, it doesn't. That's awesome. That's good.
We did touch on this just briefly while we were discussing the Lion King and so on. Yeah, Disney may potentially be abandoning the message, or at least like some of the more overt aspects of it. And this is one that's coming from the Hollywood Reporter, and like, well, basically everyone's covering it, but saying Disney is pulling transgender storyline from Pixar's Win or Lose show on Disney Plus. So the original animated show is about a co-ed high school team, which is going to debut on Disney Plus. Let's see. Each of the 8 episodes centers on the on and off field life of a character and their point of view, whether it be player, parent, coach, or an umpire. A spokesman confirmed from Disney that the story arc is going to be removed and provided the following statement. When it comes to animated content for a younger audience, we recognize that many parents would prefer to discuss certain subjects with their children on their own terms and timeline. Which is interesting. That's a weirdly self-aware piece of PR from Disney.
Do we buy that though?
Like somebody in the accounting
I don't buy it.
had a word
Like,
with them.
I would assume this is strictly a matter of I don't think
It's
this
money.
is going to benefit us as much anymore.
Well, yeah, this is like we can see the way the winds are blowing, and we need to change course accordingly.
In the article, it states that this decision was made in September, but Disney felt comfortable, and they insinuated that Disney felt comfortable saying it after the election, which means they knew they had. We had, Chris and I have heard stuff that they were trying to like turn things around, especially Pixar, which got a win that it needed, and they removed some stuff from Inside and Out 2. I guess the biggest complaint would be, why was it there in the first place? Why the fuck are we like putting this stuff into for a show that's for single digit age kids? And then they hired a 14-year-old trans actress, whatever. I mean, what? Like, what are we doing here? Like this is Disney's a family brand, and they have come out firmly against the family, and it's just completely shocking that everybody's rejecting them, and they got this horrible reputation. And it turns out, although Bob Iger said tried to equate the position of Disney against the state of Florida as equal to the civil rights era in the 60s, which is fucking crazy. They know this is a loser, and they know this is the closest to an admission of failure you will ever see from Disney. But if you expect them to completely change after this, no way. They did this one because it was obvious. But Disney is the last company that's going to change, period.
They did an Inside Out spin-off for Inside Out 2. It's also on Disney Plus, and it's actually really good. It's set in the Dream Studio where they make the dreams for the girl. So it's like a movie studio series. It's actually really funny, and I was surprised how well written that was. But you should check it out. It's got all the humor of the original first film.
I would 100% agree with any of us. They've been hyper spineless on any given social topic anyway. Like with depending on what country they release and all this other stuff. The amount of outrage I have seen from different accounts being like, "Oh my god, they've taken this out because of evil people forcing them to." I was just like, why did you ever look to Disney for like validation of any given social issue in the first place? They never cared about you. they were only ever trying to pander.
And Gary's 100% right, by the way. Every time they're not the only company that does this, but Disney does it especially, where they do this one step back to just kind of throw you off. They're just like, hey, oh, sorry, we went a little too far. And then they just take like 3 steps forward every time.
And what these groups are going to find out in Hollywood is the minute it stops, and it never made them any money. The whole DEI policy thing was about just getting more in debt, if you look more into it. But what these groups are going to find out is how quickly they will be abandoned once money is really on the line. And it is now. It's unavoidable. The investor money is gone. And it has been for a while. The bottom just fell out. That's all. Like, this has been building for a long time, obviously.
It was investing.
I think
on the speculation.
Yeah, I think a lot of this comes from the writers that they hire, who are just essentially activists rather than the executives. I don't think there's many executives at Disney who were saying like, "Oh, we need a trans storyline in this TV show or whatever. It'll be the showrunners will have brought in like writers with certain leanings socially and politically and stuff, and they'll be determined that they have to work this stuff in. Then the higher ups get word of it. They I guess they take the barometer of where like the actual audience is and realize, no, this isn't working. We're not going to do this.
Well, they had a revolt. They had Nelson Peltz come in, and even though he was unsuccessful, that was a wake up call for a lot of investors. And
I am to this day, I'm pissed off that he didn't make it. I would have loved to have seen him get a board seat.
But the fact that he did like pretty well when all the entire power structure was against him of Disney, and Disney wanted to continue in that direction. They wanted to continue with Bob Iger, who was at one time, remember Chris, when he was looked at as such an innovator, a guy who could buy a lot of things. He had this huge bank account. And he could buy a bunch of IPs and then completely destroy them and mismanage them.
He really made the most of that Fox IP takeover, didn't he?
Ooh, yeah, 72 billion. 72 billion. And what does Rupert Murdoch do? Was it Tubi that he took over? That they started Tubi, right? It's Tubi or one of those where it's a commercial streaming service basically that just plays commercial.
No, was it Quibi or something like that?
No, it's Tubi. It's the big one that's still around.
Tubi is still no. It was something else.
It's one of the ones that's still around, right? And
was it
doing
Pluto?
great.
Was it Pluto TV?
It's doing great. It's making money because it has commercials. So they screwed him over on that, and I don't know. Like when you buy something for $72 billion, and I know there's a lot of shenanigans going on financially, you aren't making that back in a lifetime. You're not making that money back in a lifetime. I don't know, like a lot of it's corporate shell game. I understand this, but for the entertainment industry to flourish at all, it does technically have to make some money. Disney streaming has not made any money. They had to bundle it with Hulu and ESPN, and it's ESPN and it's live football and live sports that it made it eke out a profit for one quarter once that like equaled a bag of potato chips in the terms. So Disney Plus this year was promised to be profitable. This month it was supposed to become profitable, and it's not. I don't know how they're going to explain that one, but yeah,
Quibi was the Jeffrey Katzenberg thing. Is that what you meant, Gary? Quibi, the short form.
Tubi.
It might be Pluto. Pluto
or
TV.
Tubi. I personally think they should go full gay. Disney should go full gay. Start a gay brand. No, I mean serious. Start a gay brand. Call it Disney Sparkle. You get everyone who is gay who works at Disney, and they work for this new division called Disney Sparkle. You've got merch, you've got shows. Be the gayest and the gay and the transiest of the trans. Just do all that. Let the marketplace decide and get all the agenda stuff out of the other program. Just put it in this one division, Disney Sparkle, where everything sparkles. Dude, and it's super
everything
gay.
You're saying, Chris, is Acolyte season 2. Make it happen.
That's what I'm saying. But then,
Chris,
then the marketplace will decide based on how well it performs. And what you can do is, I'm being dead serious about this, scale the budgets for those projects based on the audience. Let's see how many people will go see a full-on gay cartoon for children.
Chris, one issue with what you're saying, though. Chris, one issue with what you're saying. Those people will never accept that. That group of people will never. It will just turn into another protest of you're silencing us, you're putting us in the corner. It will never happen. I know that from personal experience. When I ran like a Discord server like years ago, when I tried to get politics out of my Discord server, and everyone fucking revolted, and that was with a much smaller group than Disney with money.
Well, yeah, sorry, on you go.
I'm sorry. No, that's all I had. Basically, there's no way that group will ever allow themselves to be cornered like that. They will fight back tooth and nail, despite the fact that it represents less than 1% of the population.
Because the marketplace is small. You're right. They will be outed, so to speak, that the marketplace for those kinds of things are small. I'll tell you how I know. I've been covering indie film for next year will be Film Threat's 40th anniversary. It began in 1985. Okay. So I've been doing this a long time. Gay films have always been around. They open in 2 theaters, one in New York, one in LA. They play for a while. They're in art house theaters. There is a marketplace for that. It is very small. It is very small. So, I just think that I don't know, as an experiment, Disney could try that. And
I'm telling you, it would turn into an internal war.
It would actually.
There's
it could
a
be
quote here
considered hip or whatever. Anyway, sorry, Trigger.
Yeah, there's a quote here from the actress here who was cast in this role. Chanel Stewart. She was 14 at the time. Apparently, she's now 18. Said that she was very disheartened by the decision, and it continued on by saying, "From the moment I got the script, I was very excited to share my journey to help empower other trans youth. I knew this would be a very important conversation. Trans stories matter, and they deserve to be heard." And I just thought, aren't you just excited to be like doing a voiceover role? Like, does it have to be about your specific identity? Because like crazy, call me crazy if you like, right? But I'm under the impression that actors pretend to be people that they're not.
What?
I don't know.
No way.
Like you do what you do what's called acting, where you play a character that's not you.
David Cornsweat can fly.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
That's the thing, and like, and so I was under the impression that like actors generally are quite excited when they're acting, and they get jobs when they get to play other characters, and those characters don't necessarily have to be them, and they don't have to look like them, or they don't have to have the same lifestyle as them, they don't have to have the same sexuality as them. That's acting. You play someone that you're not, but it's all very good because when you're doing a high-profile role, that's great for your acting career. But with this person, like, it seems to be like, no, it's all got to be about me and my identity, and that's all that matters. And I just thought that's an interesting take on the whole process of being an actor.
Tom Hardy said it best. There's 2 types of acting: convincing and unconvincing. And what we want to see is convincing. And I don't care what people vote, which party people vote for, or what they do in their spare time. I just want to see the best actor for the part that serves the script. It's all about serving the script and the movie and the TV series, whatever it might be. And I just want to see the best person. That's, I've been at dozens of auditions and I'm always just looking for the best person for the role. That's it. So, but now there's all these other factors.
You're doing it wrong, Lance. You should be looking for the person who represents and checks the most boxes.
Oh, that's probably why I'm so poor.
That's why. That's the thing. You've chosen the wrong path. You chose poorly.
You need to pander harder. Damn it!
I refuse. So
like there we go. Ian McKellen had the best take on this. Like fucking love Ian McKellen. And
me too.
The fact, like, he never. When it came to playing characters like Magneto and Gandalf and like all the other like incredible roles he's had throughout his career, it was never about reflecting his own sexuality, his own like lifestyle in the roles. He was an actor. He was doing a role, and that was it. He's an incredible actor, did an amazing job in pretty much everything he's done. That's it, and we can all respect him for that. Why is that controversial? That's what I don't get. Like he's just there doing a job, being an actor and playing characters, and like what he is in the real world is separate from that. It doesn't have to be reflected in every role that he plays.
Drinker, I think what ends up happening is, so he does that way, right? And then you have the people who are, the younger or just not in the position, or who look at that and see, oh, well, he has the platform to spread this. And he didn't. So then the next crop comes up, whether it be the younger or just the ones who didn't have the exposure, and they're like, I'm going to do it different. I'm going to make sure that it's very that I bring out everything about that. I push it to the forefront. So Ian McKellen is in the first group, that group that just wanted to be actors and happened to be gay, and then or trans or whatever it may be. And the next group that comes up is trans or gay or whatever who happen to be actors, and it's flip-flopped as to what they want to do.
Yeah,
that's all I got on that.
No, I think that's fair enough. I guess as well, but this being the last open bar of 2024, it's an opportunity for us to look back a little bit on the year that was. And I'd be interested in hearing, I suppose, the best and worst of the year from you guys. What would some, maybe a couple of the best things that you've seen this year, whether it was TV shows, whether it was movies, and a couple of what you consider the worst things this year, whether it's creatively or whether it's in terms of box office. I'll leave it entirely up to you. But I was just curious, what is your perception of what 2024 has been in terms of
kickstart with the award to the worst individual piece of media and see what everyone thinks it should be?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's go right in.
That'll only take 30 seconds because I have a feeling.
Yeah, I have a feeling everybody's going to go around the horn and be the same one.
Fucking Joker 2. Worst single thing that's been made this year. Madam Web, we can all laugh at that, but nobody expected it to be good. Joker 2 was the last Jedi of the Joker universe. It was a film made, conceived, executed, and released with pure fucking malice and spite and hatred in its heart. It was a film. It was an anti-film designed to punish anyone who enjoyed the first one. And I think it was probably the worst single thing that was made this year.
You got to notice how much damage it did, considering it's not even considered that Acolyte might beat it out. It's just like, nope. Which, look at that to have become that bad. But Acolyte was funny, so you got that going for it.
Yeah.
Was it? Which bit was funny again? Remind me. I can't remember.
The power of one.
Well,
yeah.
There are people who are making fun of it.
Power of many. It was hilarious.
Yeah, I did laugh at that bit. You're right.
It was effing hilarious.
Thank you for reminding me, Gary.
Sure.
But we were all kind of united by the Acolyte. We kind of expected it was going to be shit, and it was shit. And we could all just laugh at that.
I gave it a fair shake on my channel. Everybody was ranking on it before it opened, and I was like, no, we're not going to do that. Okay, we'll review it by episode. And if you watch it, I did it every week. And by episode 3, you can really see I'm breaking. And I'm trying to find positive things, and then I kind of gave it.
God, I'm so far past giving anything from Hollywood the benefit of the doubt, Lance. They don't deserve
it.
Fuck them.
I lived in a false hope that maybe the Star Wars might
Fuck
be
that shit.
You know,
you got to earn that. You got to earn that back.
Why can't we take some credit here and say we all believed it would be bad based on all the knowledge we had, and we were absolutely right?
Yes, 100% right.
It was worse.
Obvious.
It was worse than what we thought.
It was hilariously bad, though. That's the thing. At a certain point, there's not even a pretense of it's actually good, and I can make the argument that it's good. So there's a lot of contentiousness around it. It was just this is garbage. We all know it's
memeable as hell. It was yes, I want an Acolyte season 2. I want to put a second story on my pool, but I don't think we're gonna get that. For me personally, this is just selfish reasons. Rings of Power season 2. Fuck that show. It is incredible that they spent $500 million on the first season and somehow managed to make the second season worse by shipping fucking Sauron with Galadriel. That is if the Joker's the worst movie, the worst creative decision in the last decade, probably history, is shipping Galadriel with fucking Sauron. Fuck that. You must hate Tolkien to do that. You have to hate Tolkien, hate his fans, hate his values to do something like that.
I think that's the fucking millennial / Gen Z view of characters, though. It comes down to just who you want to fuck. That's the full depth.
But then they don't actually fuck anybody. What's wrong with these Gen Zers? They talk about people they want to fuck, but they don't actually do it.
Yeah, they don't fuck in real life. So
because they're terrified of it, obviously. Yeah. And that get projected onto their fictional characters. They get to live it out vicariously.
Mentioning that has obviously triggered my PTSD with Arcane season 2 being damaged completely by shipping and a goal to just smash characters together, whether or not it suits, rush through 3 seasons of TV in an instant and crush any hopes of what had enormous potential for some of the best animation you've ever seen, combined with storytelling that was downright fucking cool in terms of the teeth that it had and the interest it garnered. And the fact that it was a gaming IP, so it gave a bit more respect to that angle of the industry. But oh fucking well. Because obviously we're all gonna have different largest disappointments, but that was probably it for me.
Yeah,
for the year.
I mean, you got to factor in what's bad, what's the biggest disappointment, single worst moment. I think this year, Drinker was is the post woke apocalypse. It was just fucking zombie franchises and prequels and sequels and midquels, interquels, prequels. I didn't know these things existed, but apparently they do. Spin-offs.
The biggest disappointment for me was Gladiator 2, hands down.
That
wasn't good.
Was I the only one that just didn't expect much from that anyway? Like,
I didn't think it was going to be amazing, but I thought it would at least be better than average. Like, okay, it wasn't great, but there's very little about that film that I can say that I enjoyed, and just the lame CGI for the money they spent on it as well. Baboon World. I mean, come on, man.
There was also stinkers. There's Argyle, which I completely forgot about. Argyle was fucking terrible.
Well, you know what happened, right? All these movies that come out at the start of the year, they get buried by like the summer shit cavalcade.
American Society of Magical Negroes. Woo! Echo came out this year.
Echo, yes.
Echo, oh my gosh.
Echo, oh my god,
Well, of course, the legendary Madam Web.
For me, the biggest
watch it.
Definitely Alien Romulus. Like I had hopes at least that would be decent, and
actually,
it was just terrible. That was the biggest disappointment.
That was another.
I'm not gonna. I always do this every year when I have something that does decent for my channel. I tend to say that I loved it. Ironically, I loved The Acolyte. I hope they do 70,000 seasons of The Acolyte. That made me find my style to finally figure out how to talk about television shows, and I would make fun of that for the rest of my life. If
The Acolyte did a lot of good. It put a lot of good in the world because it united most of the Star Wars fandom. We got some new content creators. We got great content around it. I still watch some of it. It's so damn good.
We got our biggest open bar ever with The Acolyte. We got like 25,000 people watching us live. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, it was doing well for FNT. Not that well, but well.
Yeah, we did a funeral. So that's ended
that was
Star
fun.
Wars.
I loved that,
right?
Chris. That was when
thanks,
you did the funeral for that. That was fantastic.
Well, I'm thinking I'll make Acolyte season 2 myself in stop motion with action figures.
There you go.
We'll put it on Film Threat Plus.
Oh,
here,
I bought them together, and like it's better than what
Echo
they
was
made.
so much fun for all the inappropriate jokes. I mean, Echo went off. Marvel went off the reservation.
Yeah,
the silence is deafening.
That show didn't have a leg to stand.
Didn't have a leg to stand on. Yeah, it was a big gamble for Marvel.
Oh my god!
I got so much shit for my video. It was great. It was so good.
See what you did there.
What was this one? People mentioned as well. Like the one thing that Madam Web gave us was Sydney Sweeney. So, thank you for that.
Yeah,
but she was already a thing before that. That was
the red carpet. No, the red carpet.
Biggest thing after it.
Sydney Sweeney and Dakota Johnson's attitude after that movie
was
was fucking
the funny
awesome.
shit.
That was the best part.
Because as for a contribution to the movie, Sydney Sweeney may not as well not have been in it. Like Dakota Johnson was still pretty funny in the movie as well because she was clearly like, "What the fuck am I doing here? What is all of this?"
She was on like Valium or something the whole movie.
Yeah,
she just had
But like, what a throwback Madam Web was to what we used to get all the time for just your bad films, the worst of, where it's just someone who earnestly tries to create a story and can't for the fucking life of them do it.
That's what Craven the Hunt. That's what all the Sony superhero movies are. Like it's like they were made in the early 2000s, like when superhero movies were just finding their feet. That's the vibe that they give off. They've all got that. It's like it's like they'd never heard of Marvel and they never heard of like the Marvel formula. It's
quite
so
literally
weird, but it's so like charmingly nostalgic at the same time.
I mean, quite literally, Madam Web stole a scene directly out of, I believe it was Spider-Man 2. They just reused the clip from Spider-Man. So part of it was filmed in the early 2000s.
Can we spend some time recommending some things that we did?
Yes,
like
let's switch the
format. Can I recommend a TV show that I don't think you guys have mentioned on Open Bar? Somebody just turned me onto it, and I really like it. It's called Landman with Billy Bob Thornton.
I've heard good things about it.
Yeah, it's kind of
it's basically
you haven't heard us mention Landman? I've been talking about it for 2 weeks.
Have you? Sorry, I must have
Yeah.
missed that bit. But you know, when you're keeping an eye on chat and it's going 90 miles an hour. But yeah, this is a really good show. Really good writing, really good character arcs, great female characters in very much a male-driven world. You can still write great female characters in that world, you know. And it, just really, really like it. Really good acting, some great unknown actors coming up, and then you've got Demi Moore, John Hamm, Billy Bob Thornton as your three power heavyweights. But this is a good show, guys. This is a good show.
It's
highly
definitely
recommend it.
Taylor Sheridan, so there will be Taylor Sheridan language in it, which is fine. There's a lot of bass stuff in it. Billy Bob running around putting out fires is fucking awesome. It's a soap opera. It's basically Yellowstone with oil. But,
Yellowstone with oil, with occasional guns.
With some violence.
With some violence.
Yeah.
I think it's not actually a Taylor Sheridan production, though, is it?
It is. No, he
directed
it.
How many shows does that guy
does Taylor Sheridan cast himself as like the most badass oil man?
No, he does cast himself in Yellowstone as the most badass rodeo rider. Like that towards the end of season, like he self-inserts in the last 2 episodes. It's pretty.
Oh, he goes in hard.
He goes in hard. But yeah, he doesn't do it in Landman. No.
Yeah, he's sorry. The other thing I'd recommend is The Juror. That was the feature film for me that really stood out.
I would recommend Dark Mode.
Yeah, Juror 2.
Fucking Nicholas Hoult again.
Yeah.
That dude is having the year of his fucking life right now.
It's a great role for him. He's really different in it. Very, very strong performance. Directed by Clint Eastwood.
It's a good cast, like Nicholas Hoult, Toni Collette, J.K. Simmons, and Kiefer Sutherland.
It's a very good cast.
Actors.
I would agree with MauLer on this. It's a really good. The whole movie is the good first act of a Hitchcock thriller.
Yeah,
but it doesn't pay off. It's a great premise, but the third act is. MauLer, I heard you talking about it.
Yeah,
I didn't feel like they took it like beyond the trailer. I feel like I watched the trailer and I was like, all right, I'm ready for this. And then by the time I finished the movie, I was like, that was still kind of most of what I got out of it in a meaning sense. I like Nicholas Hoult in it, performance-wise, it's good stuff. And J.K. Simmons is always a treat in these sorts of movies, wherever he pops up anywhere. There's some legal tomfoolery happening that would never fly in actual cases. Some of the stuff they get away with, they try to lampshade a bit of it, like the incredibly sensitive information that relates to the case, an investigation being run on the case during the fucking trial by one of the jurors. It's one of the most outrageous things that could ever happen in a fucking court case, I think. But you know, I enjoyed it enough. I wouldn't recommend it the same way I might recommend something like like The Substance.
That was
wholeheartedly, thoroughly unique, crazy fucking movie that is cool that we have getting made even today.
Nice body horror right there.
I was going to say fair warning to anybody.
Yeah, that the ending will make you puke. Yeah. Definitely.
Demi Moore's performance of her career, I would say, that movie.
Hell yeah. She was awesome.
I was going to say as well, Shogun was a show.
Shogun,
again, another one of those shows that came out early in the year that we kind of forget about now. But wow, it was good.
It was good.
Hell, that was a good show.
We've got season 2 on the way, so I think they've commissioned 2 more seasons actually. So we'll see if they can keep up the.
You're gonna go past the source material though.
Well, I mean, there's history to choose from. We'll see.
There is. Well, there's lots of history to choose from. There was in Gladiator too. They kind of skipped that part.
Well, yeah.
Dude, gentlemen, Tulsa King. If you haven't watched him, we talked about him a ton.
Yep, Tulsa King is great.
Tulsa King's fucking awesome.
Stallone is just having the time of his life in that show.
Drinker, share this real quick. This is funny.
All right.
Zack Snyder's crypto.
No, wait. That's all wrong. There's too much color in that. It should be almost black and white.
It needs to be desaturated, but yeah.
It should be a 4:3 aspect ratio as well.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
Oh, James Gunn's gonna have a lot of fun with Snyder fans. A lot of fun. Good luck with that. I wish you all.
I want to say as well, like one of the things that took me by surprise this year, came out of absolutely nowhere. I knew nothing about it. Was Star Trek Unification? Just short.
That's my single favorite thing made this year that I loved. That's my single favorite piece of entertainment this year.
Really incredible. Drinker, you turned me on to that. You did a video about it, and then I was like, "What is this?" And but you said have some tissues ready, you were not wrong. And it wasn't
That's
Pornhub, so what a change.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, it's a nice
Happy
switch of pace,
tissues
but
and sad tissues. Happy
Yeah.
tissues and sad tissues.
But in a way, this was kind of both, because like it's a poignant goodbye and it's kind of emotional, but it's so well done, and it gives you that closure that I think you never got as a Star Trek fan.
Yeah,
and not just closure for Kirk and Spock, closure for Star Trek.
Yeah.
It's a goodbye
I could
to
honestly
Star
watch.
Trek.
I could honestly watch that and be like, okay, that's it. I'm done.
So
with
yeah,
Star
when
Trek
you're
now.
done watching all you do your full watch through, and you finish at whatever Enterprise. Let's just say Enterprise, especially that last episode. It's gonna be fire this up. I would watch Picard season 3 too, but then fire this up at the very end. It is God, it got me. I've watched that thing like 20 times.
Yeah. And it's it got me to the point where it's not often I shed a tear over something, because I don't experience emotions like normal humans do because I'm Scottish, but that did it for me. And I just thought, God, you've done something pretty special here. And I think this was more Star Trek in 7 minutes than we've had in the past 20 years.
Yeah.
And that says a lot. Even Picard season 3, like when I compare what they did with that show to this, that show just seems so clumsy and fumbling. And, I get what they managed to accomplish. That was pulling some kind of, half decent show out of the ashes of Picard.
Crap. Yeah. And like, it was 7 out of 10. No, unification's 10 out of 10. Like it is perfection.
Yeah. So I was very happy with that. And the one that I talked to MauLer about before was One Life with Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah.
For anyone here who hasn't seen it, watch that movie. That will bring a tear to your eye. And if it doesn't, you don't have a soul, as far as I'm concerned. It's a true story about a man during World War II who helped to evacuate Jewish children from Czechoslovakia just as the Nazis were rolling in. Essentially, his work was forgotten after the war, and it wasn't until he was an old man, probably in the 1980s, I think.
Yeah, I saw the original program when it was on.
Yes, yeah, it was That's Life or something.
That's
was it?
Life, presented by Esther Ranson. Had one survivor come on and talk about him, and
they brought him on, and the real man, and all of the children who he had helped to rescue were there in the audience. Obviously, they were grown up. They were middle-aged people by now, and it was like, stand up if you owe your life to this man. And the entire audience stood up. And what a testimony on your life if that's what you've accomplished. Wow. An entire auditorium full of people that owe their lives to you. And I think it's just a nice reminder that there are good people in the world and that good things can still be accomplished.
It's pretty important, sensitive, heavy material, but you got Anthony Hopkins playing the character dealing with that, so you're in good hands in terms of a performance.
The actor who played the younger version of him was very good in that movie as well. I forget the name of the actor, but he did a good job.
Yeah, he was
in the other storyline timeline.
Yeah. No, I think performance-wise throughout the film, like I've got no complaints.
How could we not mention the Penguin?
Oh,
that was going to be mine. I was going to say that was my best thing of the year.
I was waiting for you.
It's okay, MauLer.
Well, I mean, what we've said it enough. I'd say it's been recommended quite a bit across since it released. But what a shock in terms of this was a lot better than most people were expecting it to be. Some people weren't so keen on the Batman, and this was a spin-off of that, which is already kind of just like, okay, I guess if you want. And we'd said several times before it came out, for this thing to make an impact, it's going to have to be fucking great. And they managed to pull something off that we haven't seen significantly, I think, in a long time. A mainstream villainous character who is villainous through and through, and the show is very aware of it. And they created a whole story we can follow, track him, even kind of root for him at certain points, depending on.
That's the thing. They play with you. They bait you into this idea, like, maybe he's kind of sympathetic. Maybe you want to empathize with this guy a little bit, and then just as you're warming to him, like, they pull that fucking switcheroo on you.
Like, that was exactly what I was going to say.
Best example of that.
They almost played off of the fact that people are sick of these sympathetic. Oh yeah, this villain was actually the victim. They almost played off of that, which made it fucking awesome.
And he's such scum, like in the best way possible to describe that.
Yeah.
The one of the better representations, other than the finale, of course. And I'm gonna, just for the sake of it, remain a bit spoiler free on that. But when he's, I think it's episode 3, where he's finally figured out how to appeal to Sophia, and he's like,
yeah,
I'm he even like tears up. It's like, I'm sorry what happened to you. I never expected your dad would do that, to send you to Arkham. It's like, and I've always wanted to, we work together, build this thing. And yes, I gained a lot from what I did to you. Doesn't mean that I don't care about you, and I do. And then she's like, well, how am I going to trust you? And he's like, I'm going to show you how you can trust me. Literal 1 minute later, he's selling her out completely to the Maronis, and she's just watching him spew out a whole new story to explain how he's completely taken advantage of her, that he works for them, and everything is fine. And you get that throughout the series. The dialogue is top notch. The performances are fucking through the roof. Nobody saw this coming to be how good it was, and you know what? I think there's news of like they're going to try and push for a season 2 now, right?
Yeah.
Well, I hope so.
Well, the funny thing is, I'm not
He
sure
doesn't
that
wanna
would
do
happen
it.
if it wasn't so critically acclaimed.
Well, yeah,
He doesn't want to do it. Farrell doesn't want to do it.
I don't blame him. He has to sit in that chair for like 77 hours to get that makeup on. I don't blame his ass.
Like his performance is it's up as far as villain performances in a superhero thing. It's up there with Heath Ledger. It's up there. Not going to say it's better, but it's up there. Like that's how good. That's the best performance you're going to see in anything this year. Period.
The thing
Gary,
is,
I
this was
grounded
said
and
about,
believable as well, which is the important thing, because you can buy into this as just being a standard crime drama. Like you don't even need the superhero aspects to it. Like it stands on its own merits as like just a solid crime drama story.
I was going to say on the performance, by the way, it's rare you get to see that you wouldn't recognize the actor's face because of the way they've done the makeup, but you simultaneously wouldn't recognize his voice either.
Yeah.
That's really solid work.
Oh, and you can read his face. The makeup is so good you can read his face. So
I was saying in that scene where he's talking to Sophia, that everything's coming through the eyes, and when he's at his like angriest or most vulnerable and stuff, you can kind of detect Colin Farrell in there, but he does such an amazing job of becoming the Penguin, which he took very, very seriously. I think he cares a lot about this.
Yep.
And my hope is that he's saying he's not going to necessarily want to come back as how difficult to sue is, just to get some extra money out of this. Okay.
He's coming back to the Batman too. He's going to be in that. So
the thing is that those roles are going to be
again.
much quicker, much easier, right? If he's doing, maybe a couple weeks of shooting.
The
compared to a
Penguin
whole
sucked.
show.
Oh, Chet, come on.
Gary,
Get out of here.
So as one of the few people in
Reaper's in chat, obviously.
Yeah.
Gary, as one of the few people in this sphere that I like bow down to in terms of comic
Don't bow
knowledge.
down.
Well, in terms of comic knowledge, I yield to you. What was your take on Sophia Falcone? How they kind of reinvented her? Not so much
I thought it was good. It was
brooding.
nothing like the Sophia Falcone that's in the comics that kills cops.
Yeah, not even close.
But, not even close. But the actress was so effing good in the role. Didn't matter, because that's ultimately you want good character, good story. That's what they gave us, and they could have made her an insufferable girl boss easy, and they didn't. They made her the mob daughter who ultimately f's up at the end pretty bad.
She's the fucking like she's the protagonist. Like she's the good guy in all of this.
She's also
like the fucking Penguin is the antagonist, and the bad guy wins. Like that's the great
is she not also
moral of this story?
The kind of writer we've been advocating for this whole time. She goes through some extreme suffering. She makes her own mistakes. She's got definitive flaws that we see great context for why they exist the way that they do. The fact that she missteps in terms of who she can trust and what different things she can operate within, and how all this family stuff works, how all the underworld works, and then getting a good grip and making some good moves, but ultimately still falling short in certain areas. And holy shit, she plays like 4 different versions of the character throughout the series. It's impressive.
She weaves her way through that underground world perfectly, like Susie Glass and Gentlemen.
Fantastic performance from Kristen Milotti. She should get an Emmy for it.
She is like,
she probably
and she's
will.
hot as fuck as well. Like
that
I like my women a little
hurt.
bit crazy, so it's always good.
She came into her own later too. Like she was not really a thing for a long time. Then she appeared in How I Met Your Mother. That was kind of like the first time people saw her. And then she was in probably the best episode of Black Mirror ever. And she kind of has built off of those appearances. And this is really
she's in that
established her.
Star Trek Black Mirror, right?
Yes.
I fucking hated that one. I fucking
agree to
hated it.
disagree. I like that one,
Yeah,
but
I hate that episode was incels, your fans suck. And then it like the good Star Trek at the end was the Jar Jar Abrams one with the fucking fuck no, I hated that episode so much.
Yeah, agree to disagree. But either way, she was really good in that episode. And she's built off of that since in a way past when most actresses do, which is really good for her.
Yeah. Any other good things that have come out this year that you guys feel like the audience should be aware of?
Yeah, she was in Venture Brothers, by the way. Sorry. Yes.
Did anyone here see Oddity?
No.
Looks like a no.
No. Anyway, moving on.
Okay. I mean, I'd probably recommend it. Yeah, it's a bit of a spooky horror film. The I don't know if you've seen the trailer, anybody, but to maybe hook you on it. I think I told you about it. Drinker. There's a woman in a house. She goes out to a car. Comes back in.
Yes.
And
she's told like, someone snuck into your house while you were away.
Yeah, guy knocks on her door asking to be let in, and she's like, no, random person. And he's like, but someone's in your house and they're gonna kill you. Like they're gonna get you, so you gotta let me in to save you. And it's very it starts getting very tense very quickly. And the film evolves. I think Gary, you'd be quite interested in Oddity potentially. It's got a supernatural bent that's pretty interesting.
All right.
MauLer, did you like Heretic with Hugh Grant?
No, I still haven't seen it yet. I want to though.
It's very good.
Is it good? When did it come out?
I liked it.
Like a month ago. Also, Dune Part 2. We forgot to mention that.
I was going to say like, and I almost felt like that was worth mentioning by itself. The fact that like none of us have brought up Dune 2, where it was quite a big deal.
It came out in March, you know.
Yeah,
it feels like 2023. It came out.
I do wonder if it falls into that category
really early, and that was January, right?
I think
January, February. Yeah.
I think you're going in the right direction.
I do wonder if Dune 2 falls into this category of movies that are technically impressive, very interesting takes on the source material, but ultimately there's nothing that you can really say about it. It doesn't grab you emotionally.
Yeah, emotionally it was forgettable for me emotionally. I thought visually it looked amazing, but emotionally for me it wasn't there at all.
Yeah, I like the first one better.
That seems
like
to be the key to it. Whenever I see it discussed, people talk about the technical aspects. It's always cinematography is top notch, but you just don't see as much story analysis for it or what it meant to people that often. And people don't tend to bring it up spontaneously that much.
I wouldn't say
it's really interesting.
I mean, good point, chat. Like Dune is like Avatar. People weren't really talking about it that much, but Dune's better than Avatar.
Dune's better than Avatar.
Yeah. Oh yeah, way
better than Avatar.
I think it's a really good take on the source material, but like it does expose the fact that the source material doesn't lend itself that well to movies in the first place. So
it's tough.
Dune Prophecy is really doing damage to it right now too. Dune Prophecy is just about as boring as it gets.
Oh, God, I've heard bad things about that.
Yeah. It's I gave up after 4 episodes, and it was only 6 episodes, so I didn't have much to go.
I don't know how you
and
made
I
it
just
that
was like,
far.
I'm done. I'm out. This is not worth my time.
People have asked me to talk about Wicked as well, because I did give it a positive review, and I will say yes, it's a pretty good movie. If you like musicals, if you like the stage show, you'll love this movie.
You're going to sing us a tune from it, as it's Christmas and it's the last open bar.
No, look, what do you want me to do? Defy gravity right now?
Burst into song.
It'll make you popular. So
yeah. Are you going to make me be popular? Anyway,
God, that fucking song was in my head for like a week. I wanted to kill myself.
So it did its job then, is what you're saying.
Earworm.
But like as Chris once said to us, like if you like Thai food, then you'll like this movie. But no, it does raise a point that if you like the original stage show, if you like musicals, it's great. You're gonna love it. If not, it's probably not gonna win you over. But that's just the nature of movies like this. I think they did a good adaptation of what the stage show was. So
yeah,
hats off to them for that. I don't think it's going to be for everyone, but that's okay. But I didn't get the impression that it was like, it wasn't trying to push things too hard politically. It wasn't super woke or anything like that. I think the actors did a good job. I think Ariana Grande, Cynthia Erivo, however flaky they might be in their interviews and the promotional tour and stuff, they were fine on screen. I thought they did an okay job.
And Gary's going to the sing-along version.
I am not. Chris. I am not, but I have seen the play. Okay, I went to the play. Play's better because the women were hotter.
Yeah, I don't want to go to any sing-along version of any movie ever in my life.
Not even Rocky Horror.
Well, that's the only one because you can. It's drinking is involved.
Never, ever, ever, except for this one time, I'll go.
Well, Rocky Horror.
Yeah, Rocky Horror is a special case.
Also super gay, but there you go.
Really fucking gay.
You got
Really
to embrace it though when it's Rocky Horror.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the nature of it,
dude.
Yeah.
Rocky
So if
Horror
we can all club together though for like all the super chats and stuff, I'm going to send Ariana Grande a bunch of cheeseburgers or something like to.
Yeah, I'll throw in on that one. I'll throw in on that
Please.
one. She needs a double animal
She's about
style.
to pass out from malnutrition. She needs something.
Isn't it interesting though as well, like what losing that amount of weight can do to you, like and making you look older because she looks like she's aged about 20 years in the making of this movie.
It depends how you do it. It depends if you do it healthily, like if you drop that much weight, but you do it slowly, healthily. Back when I used to compete in jiu-jitsu, I used to drop a lot of weight, but I would do it a very specific way. And it doesn't do anything to you. But if you do it rapidly and just deplete calories from your body in a way that is unnatural, it starts to pull from your skin, your natural.
It's bad for your organs.
It's bad for your organs.
I think as well,
and that's what makes the aging process go quicker.
Well, I think as well, if you're quite like small and petite anyway, like she was, and then you lose a bunch of additional weight, like you're just gonna look ill.
I think it's Ozempic. That Ozempic stuff is going around so much. That was such a great South Park episode, but it's for real. You can lose weight pretty fast on it, but the thing is, it starts ripping up your body, and it's just a matter of time until we hear about all the side effects from Ozempic that hit you 5 years later. You know, instead of just
a lot of people theorize she's got some kind of medical condition that's going to get revealed soon.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. You'll be a dope sick drama
Nature's
series.
not meant to be fucked with like that. There's no such thing as get rich quick. There's no such thing as a free lunch, and there's no way to lose weight quickly that's healthy.
It's going to be organ failure because what's going to end up happening is essentially they didn't get the nutrition in their organs, and then you're going to see rise in pancreas problems and this organ and that. It's going to be a little different for every person, but that's what happens when you start seeing these. It happens with crash diets years ago when people were doing things that were not healthy, when they were depleting their bodies of certain nutrients to lose weight quickly. They would end 5-6 years later, they would end up with a serious issue.
It's such a weird irony of like these celebrities in Hollywood who, because they're like multimillionaires, like they've got access. They could go to the best restaurants available every day and just like have the time of their lives, and like they're all starving themselves to death. And why? So you can look like a fucking living skeleton. Like nobody's gonna like cheer you for that.
I know most dudes like curves, so I mean. Don't want to.
I would take the William Shatner approach. Just get fat as fuck, and who cares? Like,
just be a better actor. That's really all it is. Just be a better actor, and you don't need to worry about if you're a few pounds heavier.
Be in shape, but don't worry about like being rail thin. Ugh.
Yeah. I've got this one as well that came up. Super chat for Leah S says, "Cheers, gentlemen. MauLer, love your videos so much. You inspire me to be a better writer. Drinker, I saw you watched and enjoyed Attack on Titan and thought you might enjoy Vinland Saga. It's an anime about Vikings and revenge. Don't want to spoil it, but have a happy holiday." Well, thank you very much. Thank you. I've heard people recommend Vinland Saga before. So
a lot, yeah.
I can give you a recommendation myself. Vinland Saga is fantastic.
Well,
Drinker, have you watched the whole thing of Attack on Titan or just the first season?
So I'm on the final season. I've so it's split up into like 4 different box sets or something.
Yeah.
So I'm on like the 3rd one.
Yeah, I've done the first box set. Still need to get the rest.
So that final season is a fucking beast, man. But there's a lot going on there to pick apart.
It's a great show.
Narratively, it pulls the rug right out from under you right from the start of season, like the final season. It's like, oh, okay, we're going to show you the completely opposite perspective on this and tell you why all the main characters are absolute monsters from doing the things that they did. So,
best show of the year, better than Penguin, better than Gentleman, Clarkson's Farm.
Yes, yes,
correct.
Grand Tour was pretty good as well. Finishing up,
Grand Tour, all the specials were fucking great. Oh my god, they were so good. I can't watch. I need a little time to watch them again because that last one is so fucking sad.
Oh yeah. When they go to the tree that like they did the very first one on, like all
started
those years
on
before. Oh Christ, man,
dude. But yeah, May of next year we get season 4.
I think you and I need to go to Clarkson's farm, like because he's got like a pub, he's got like a restaurant and stuff. We should go there for lunch or something. Next
Okay,
time
so
you're in the UK.
I went there with Shad last time, and I'll take you out there. We got a driver, and it was a little expensive, but my wife didn't want me to drive in your country. She was worried
That's definitely a good thing. Yeah, don't do that.
It's the same but opposite. I'm sure I'd be fine. Whatever.
It doesn't make any sense over here. Trust me. Yeah, American driving is so much easier.
Definitely going to Clarkson's farm when I come out. Let's fucking go. And the cafe is good. It's legit good. The food is good.
Yeah, no, that sounds good. Let's see here. Let's see.
Don't make me bring up Dan to Dan chat. Don't make me bring
Christ,
that up.
it's cold. God, just had to put the heating on.
Well, are you in England?
That's going to cost me about $200.
What was your first clue, Chris?
You can't use heat.
Did you have to ask the council if you could turn your heat on?
Yeah, exactly. Pretty much.
You gotta have a license for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he only paid for the television license and the electric license. He didn't pay for the heating license.
Television, Netflix.
Yeah, gotta get permission for that. The first one here is from Shaker Silver. He says, "What are you on, drinker? Guardians and Suicide Squad aren't ironic and subversive, and while tongue in cheek, they're very earnestly emotional." I think that's the thing, though. Like tongue in cheek is, it's a thing. And it's not necessarily what I want from Superman. I don't want it to be tongue in cheek. I want it to be completely earnest because that's what the character is. That's what reflects him as a
You
character.
want that tongue out of that cheek.
Well, and you got to look at how many people have watched all 3 Guardians in a row lately and seen the contrast from the first one and the severe drop off there is to the second one and to the third one.
Didn't like the third one.
It's so hard because with the second one, it's got Kurt Russell in it, and he just elevates any movie.
He does.
And he plays
He
the
does.
worst character in it. Too.
He's
That's the
good.
worst part.
It's good. It's just got a long fucking boring slog in the middle, but it's James Gunn fully self-indulgent in my opinion, and I like both 2 and 3. I like them, but you cannot put them in the same realm as the first Guardians. As far as like
returns.
It's diminishing returns, but it's like they tried to repeat what they did and it was just lightning in a bottle. Guardians is a perfect balance of that tongue-in-cheek humor and earnestness. Like stuff gets really serious in that movie, right? And it almost feels Lucas and Spielbergian, that first one. But they don't do it in 2 and 3.
There was also an expectation after the first one, and they tried to exceed it, and they went too far in one direction with the campiness. The first one had no expectations whatsoever.
Well, then the third one was like super uneven. Like its highs were like genuinely awesome. Like mostly it's like with the rocket flashbacks and stuff. The high evolutionary, like he was superb, mostly because the actor did an awesome job. But then there was so much shit that came along with it that's so slow and
Dude, when I walked out of the first Guardians, I'm like, that is the closest thing I have seen to the Star Wars original trilogy ever, like as far as tone. And haven't seen anything like it since. That's how fucking good that first one is. It's like miles better than 2 and 3.
Somebody in the chat,
the first Guardians is Farscape.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
I was literally about to point that one out.
That is the perfect analogy. It's perfect.
That's exactly what it is. I mean, he talked about like he borrowed a lot from Farscape. That's no secret.
Yeah,
everyone should borrow from Farscape.
Everyone should.
So fucking underrated.
It's like the most underrated sci-fi of all time.
Yeah, it's in my top 5 shows of all time, easily.
Next one is Cuban says, last week I meant the super chat catch up for Madam Web with the joke for Rags that I started wearing the hoodie to work. Guy asked me where I got Rags and MauLer hoodie. He then said, your vids are too long, so he unsubscribed and I stared silently at him. Brutal.
Watch them in parts, all right? Everyone's able to do it. You just gotta do that.
He's literally called the long man. What do you want from him?
Yeah, I can't be doing shorts.
He did it. He just did a short. He just
did.
did 2 shorts. He just did the Alien and Star Wars. Those are shorts. Hour long.
By MauLer standards, that is short. Yeah.
Those are shorts.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
we have to
people
wait
ask
a
me if
long
I was
time.
okay.
For them.
You okay?
Mahler, next time you do just an hour video, you should do it like with the phone screen. You should do it like a short. That'd be fucking funny.
No, you should honestly just do like the shortest of short reviews where you just go, nah, it was a bit shit. And that's it. That's your review.
Yeah.
People would lose
As
their
did
shit.
that once. It was great. It was great.
Yeah.
I have a Christmas movie recommendation you might want to share there. It's just a little
where have we got
graphic.
it?
You might have heard of this one.
Is it Hot
Is it
Frosty?
Jack Frosty or whatever?
It's brightly shiny.
Brightly Shining. Yeah. Is that where
that's good.
they recut it as a romantic comedy?
No, everybody needs to watch Hot Frosty.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
I've seen it, mate. Oh my god.
I saw my wife watching it. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And it's hilarious.
Tatiana
bad.
has watched it, and she said it was shit, and she
Yeah.
loves Christmas movies like this.
Yes,
So-
my wife loves all the Hallmark stuff. She's all
Yep.
Yeah.
What was it she was watching as well? The Text Before Christmas or something? Fuck it, yeah.
Is that real? The text.
Dude, there are so many that I have never heard
Oh
of.
yeah.
Oh my god.
Go on Netflix and just look up like Christmas movies,
Christmas
and
movies.
there's like a million. They all look the same. They all have the same like people.
They all
on
have the same actor that you recognize from a TV show from 15 years ago who hasn't worked in a while. That's what they have.
You know,
I
you know what's
I
fucking
like
funny
this.
as well? Like I sat down, like she just happened to be watching one of those. I think it was The Text Before Christmas, right? And I sat down for like 2 minutes, and you know who was fucking in it? The actor who played Ryan Drake in Rogue Element.
No.
Mate, would you have cast him if you'd
Couldn't
seen
have
that
timed it
first?
better. Couldn't have timed it fucking better,
No
man.
way.
That's funny.
Did
They
you have
do
any
make a lot
regrets
of money,
immediately
though.
in that moment?
They make
Was
a lot
that?
of money.
I said, did you have any
Yeah,
regrets
yeah.
immediately in that moment?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I'm gonna have to rib him on that one. But
No,
anyway,
a lot of
That's
people
it,
watch
gotta
that
redo
shit
the
and
whole
they make
thing
money
from the
because
ground
they don't cost a lot to make.
Yeah.
And when
Yeah.
they were putting on like Hallmark Channel and shit like that, those things were making bank.
Yeah.
The reason they did them.
Yeah, they have to make like $100 on their advertising campaign, and they've doubled their budget. That's all that they need to
Yep.
do. So it's fine.
next one is Tyler, who says, "This isn't a postmodern Superman. This will be a meta-modern Superman, an earnest reconstruction of the deconstruction. I'm into it, and I think we need it."
Yeah.
Well, I hope you're right. I really hope you're right. We need that.
I'm
definitely
still looking
need
forward to the movie. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, like as much as I can look forward to anything from Hollywood these days, I think it'll be fine. But fine is not good enough. Like this thing, they need to. Somebody mentioned it on the chat. They can't just like hit a home run. They need to call their shot and hit an upper deck home run. Like that's how much this movie needs to succeed. It can't be just like, oh, it's a 7 out of 10. So
Yeah,
I agree.
it's got to be big box office worldwide for sure.
Yep.
Immortal Remas says, "I'm surprised that Warner Brothers didn't do a live-action Crypto the Superdog movie back in the 90s when buddy animal family comedies were all the rage." Yeah, because that's when you had like Turner and Hooch and like Beethoven's Ninth and whatever.
They probably thought about it.
K9.
Yeah, K9.
Belushi.
Homeward Bound.
Oh God,
Yep.
yeah. That
Homeward
J.
Bound.
Fox. Michael J.
Mhm.
Fox was in that.
It's a great movie.
Yeah.
Airbud.
Yeah. And to this day, I am never going to watch Marley and Me. I fucking
no.
won't do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do that to myself.
No, mate, I wouldn't recommend that.
Yeah. That's it's tough going. Matt PG says, "Merry Christmas all. Drinker, loved the members only live stream that you did the other day. Unfortunately, I had to step out before I could chat with you, but I'll just have to catch the next one. Great panel tonight, by the way. Cheers from the garage." Thank you, my friend. And yeah, it was a real pleasure to be able to do that again. As I said on the night, I'm sorry I haven't done enough of them recently, but work often gets in the way, and I want to make more time for that. So yeah, make it a proper regular thing, and a chance to like talk to the Patreon supporters, the channel members and stuff who allow me to do what I do. So I'll be doing a lot more of them, and just catching up with you guys properly as we go into the new year. So thank you. Sentry says, hey, is it just me or does the CGI and lighting look like a bit like a CW production? Not quite as bad as that, but I see
I'd
what
say
you're going for
close.
there.
Close.
The wide shots.
You know what's interesting? You know what's interesting is Superman's worked in television time and time again. George Reeves, even that Superboy show was okay. Smallville, Lois and Clark and Superman and Lois, they've all been pretty good, but they just, since Christopher Reeve have not been able to figure it out in movies at all. And maybe that's where Superman storytelling belongs, maybe in serialized television.
And don't forget that
it does make you wonder, yeah.
We're 7 months away from this being in theaters. There's going to be touch-ups. There's going to be stuff that's going to be changed.
Of course.
So
we saw nothing.
We saw absolutely nothing at all.
Yeah. Radio Spec says Nathan Fillion has got to be the greatest tragedy in modern Hollywood. Never got cast as Nathan Drake besides the fan film. What a loss. Firefly rules.
Firefly does rule.
Firefly does indeed, yeah. And,
don't you feel like Nathan Fillion should have been a bigger star than he was, though? I do.
Yeah.
He always backed the wrong project.
There's an alternate universe where Firefly got like 5 seasons, and then he transitioned from that into like Marvel movies or something, and just like had this crazy successful career.
Yeah,
and it's a shame.
I'm telling you, he was born to play Hal Jordan, not Guy Gardner. I'm telling you right now, if they would have went that route, he has the look. He played the voice. So I don't know why they're going this route. It's weird.
People pointing out as well, Ben Broder from Farscape, like he probably should have had a much bigger career than he did after Farscape. Again, it just didn't happen. Shame.
Because Nathan Fillion did Castle after
like he was a big TV star. Like he made plenty of money and had a lot. But I thought he would be a pretty good movie star.
Yeah.
But he does. The Rookie ran multiple seasons. Castle ran multiple seasons. He's been in a lot of stuff.
How do you say? Elias Iosophidilis says in 2022, I Am Groot came out. Nobody talked about it.
No, didn't watch it. It's a kid show.
Well, there you go then.
It's all right.
Yeah. Sly Jester says, from a Florida man to everybody here, Merry Christmas, and I'll see you all, you Breerfield drunkards, in the new year. Cheers, and I'm off to work. Well, thank you, man. And hope you have a great Christmas too. John Rice says, I wish the next movie continued the dystopian teaser at the end of the Snyder Cut. Black Adam plus Super Friends battle Darkseid and mind-controlled Superman. I don't think anything from the Snyder Cut is going to make it into this somehow.
Except for James Gunn's wife. That's not the Snyder Cut, technically. So
still in that universe, but like
Amanda Waller. I think Amanda Waller.
The DC universe, man, that is a fascinating insight into corporate mismanagement of an intellectual property.
Really is.
Fascinating.
Books should be written on how much executive interference, like or dislike Snyder, like he got screwed. His daughter committed suicide, and they found a way to get rid of him. I mean, that is as scummy as it gets. And Joss Whedon came in to piecemeal together, and they tried to like make it into the MCU, and it was such a clusterfuck.
Yeah.
Historically, though, Warner Brothers and DC has always been really hands-on with Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman, the Trinity. There was, going back when they did the cartoon, they wanted to change all the outfits to make them white and all match. And then they said, no, absolutely not. You do not touch the Trinity. And then eventually that got recycled. So they do not let anyone have their own way with those characters. That's not new.
Here's a question. From Lanzoporus says, considering this is a James Gunn film, how many jokes do you think they'll all make about Superman's underwear being on the outside of his pants?
Ooh. At minimum one.
The thing I'm braced for with this being a James Gunn movie is all the licensed pop songs.
Yeah.
Like, and I can see that just completely not fitting
I don't
with a
think there should
Superman
be
movie, but
any
it's just like
in that movie, like zero.
well, there
Zero,
should be
yeah.
no, but like because it's
Yeah.
James Gunn, he's fucking obsessed with music, and it all has to be licensed tracks from like existing songs. Like, I just think that's what he's going to do, like because he can't do anything else, and I think it's going to detract from the film. They obviously avoided it in this teaser, but then anything could happen in the film itself.
Time will tell.
Ominous Flair says, I agree that it's a breath of fresh air, so it might be like Spider-Man Homecoming, returning to the roots of the character, if nothing too groundbreaking. I'm all right with that. And I can totally see why with this teaser, they played it safe.
It's all about timing, right? So after 9/11, Spider-Man came out, and the tone of Spider-Man was the shot in the arm like the country needed culturally. And while it was a great movie, freaking love it, Sam Raimi's movie, the timing of it was so fucking perfect. It blew it up. And it was a time where we had a little hope, little patriotism. We'll see if Superman can do the same.
You know
thing.
what? You know what else blew up in that same week that became the best-selling box set DVD in history? Band of Brothers.
I can get that.
Band of Brothers was released the week after 9/11, and they actually had big billboard strip posters for it all the way down that part of Manhattan as well. You know, in advance of it, because it was their most expensive show to date at the time. HBO.
Good show too. Good
Fantastic show. Absolutely incredible. One of the actors stayed with me when he was filming it, so I got to hear all the stories. But yeah, I mean that, people were up for real stories of heroism as well, and
different time.
Yeah, well, I think in times of crisis, you go back to like stories of old-fashioned heroism and bravery, and like God, I hate to reference it, but even the Avengers touched upon that when Captain America says, like, don't you think the stars and stripes and stuff is a bit old-fashioned? And I think Agent Coulson says to him, with all that's about to happen, with everything that's about to come out, I think people could use a bit of old-fashioned right now.
As a person who grew up in that area during that time, that's exactly what was going on. It was a very unified period for the New York, New Jersey, even southern Connecticut area, because they were all affected very, very much. And it was what Gary said, Spider-Man was exactly what was needed at the time.
It hit the zeitgeist perfectly.
Yeah, it hit the zeitgeist. They put that scene in where he swings up to the top of the building, like lands on top of the American flag. They had to, unfortunately, they had to remove the Twin Towers web, for obvious reasons. But yeah, I could tell you, being in that area at the time, there was probably never a more unified period in history.
I have that trailer right here, by the way, with the Twin Towers on it.
Oh yeah, I've got that trailer.
Yeah,
I remember seeing it as well in the cinema.
Yeah.
Just a couple of weeks before. My God.
Yeah. Bobby Preach Singh says 4 years of EFAP movies and couldn't stay for 40 more minutes to grade the war arc. Is sleep that important, huh? I really enjoyed it. Thanks.
Ooh.
Sleep on stream.
Shot at you, drinker. As
Wait,
well.
is that me?
Yeah. You Saga the chat all left us to rank the movies when at the beginning of the recording you were all like, yeah, let's do it. It's gonna be great. Yeah.
Did you duck out of a
people don't
16-hour
appreciate
stream early, you drinker?
Yeah, imagine that. What people don't appreciate is that whole thing was recorded over a period of like a fucking year. And when people say like, we're gonna have a quick chat on EFAP about how do we grade these movies, it's like, well, I'm gonna be here for the next 6 hours, clearly. I just didn't have time at that particular moment, but sorry.
We didn't have that extra 6 hours just laying around.
Yeah. It's weird, like when you have to get up with like kids and doggos and all that other stuff. Like, it's just,
You haven't learned how to clone yourself and wear a diaper yet, drinker? Seriously?
Well, I mean, you can just go without the diaper and just be free. Like, that's what the floor is.
Oh, yeah, I mean, who needs the diaper, right? Just bucket next to the desk.
This one here as well is from RPC 107. It says Merry Christmas, and he gave us 140 Canadian dollars, which I assume is like quite a lot of money, actually. So thank you, sir. I appreciate that very much. And I'll do a couple more before I finish up. Terrell Coates says, OMG, Enough with the too many characters shit. Can we please remember that Captain America Civil War and how that still remains a Cap movie despite having more characters than Superman? Yes, it did, but they were all established characters, though. That was the difference.
Well, I was just going to bring up that, like, we're speculating on a trailer. We've seen a lot of characters. There's a very big worry, as a lot of films fall into it, that'll, dilute the power of bringing in Superman. This is very different. It's very important. And we're not saying it's 100% going to happen that it'll be ruined. There's a very big possibility, and he's going to have to,
you're not making a third movie in the best trilogy in the MCU, which is the Captain America trilogy. You're launching another universe. Third launch in 20 years for this character, third launch in 10 years for this universe. And you kind of should go back to basics. And if you can't produce a good Superman movie on its own, you probably shouldn't be going on with the rest. That would be my suggestion based on everything I've seen in entertainment over my lifetime.
It's not even just a third movie in a trilogy too. So it was like the 17th movie in a larger series. So having that many characters is not even in the same stratosphere as comparing it to the first movie to launch.
To James Gunn, he has explicitly said this movie, Superman, is a standalone movie. It does not launch anything. It does not have any threads going into any other movies.
Good. Does that sound like he's saying that for the sake of it, though? Because there's no way DC would be okay with that. They'd want him, obviously, to be launching shit.
That's just what he said.
Well, and I would say, we already know he is.
Honest guy in the world.
As far as I'm
it's all going to come down to the success of the movie. If it's super successful, it's going to launch a shit ton of things.
No. I'm talking about
standalone.
Guy Gardner. He's already confirmed to be in the Lantern show. So Nathan Fillion. So the idea, what I'm getting at is that there's no way this is a standalone in the sense, not in the same way that I think Iron Man was, where they were like, fucking, let's hope we can nail this, and then we'll throw on an Avengers tease. This is definitely foundational for a couple of things. They're probably launching a couple of things from this.
I'm just going off
trust the voices of Hollywood, MauLer?
You know what? After he told me The Flash was like the best superhero movie ever, James Gunn's a liar. He's a fucking liar.
Oh, yeah. Well, we were seriously considering Henry Cavill. No, you fucking weren't. No, you weren't.
Yeah.
No, you weren't. So, that's what he said.
Screwing him over.
I'm not saying it's true. I'm just saying that's what he said.
Jeffrey says, forgot to put in a message for the last super chat. Merry Christmas, guys.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you. And to all of the chat.
Yeah. Spartan Bot says, that man looks exactly like a career farmer in his 70s. I see old farmers every day that all share that look. It's a Midwest thing.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, okay. And Terrell Coates says, the Hot Girl, Metamorpho, and others could and maybe are just to be tasked with taking down Supes. That's it. Maybe they're just there for that one action scene. James says that it's a Lois, Lex, and Clark movie.
I like the way he picked up on my mistake from Gary there. That's nice.
Hot girl.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, who knows? Who knows what it's going to be? I'll probably finish up there though for tonight. I want to say to my panel, thank you for coming in for this tonight. Thank you for making it so special as it is right at the end of the year like this. Particularly for the guys who are just like up and coming, for the Outcast Creative, for Lance, for DarkHour.
Thank you, man.
If you guys are not following them already and you're not subscribed to them, please consider giving them a subscribe. The links are in the description.
I'm 137 subs away from 5K.
Right, we can get you there. Come on, we can do it.
So much appreciated, chat. Thank you.
If I can, by the way, Drinks, I meant to bring this up earlier actually, but it's such a weird fun fact, and since this is the last open bar of the year, I thought it would be kind of suitable. If Lance or Chris or anyone here knows the answer to this, don't answer. But it's something I just happened to find out through sheer crazy luck. But Drinker, you know how we're fond of The Rock? I'm quite fond of that. Good movie.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant the person, The Rock, for a second. I'd be like,
no, not the fucking person.
You better differentiate.
The movie The Rock.
Yes. I was at the first UK screening of that, MauLer, actually. Surprise movie at a film festival. Yeah.
Lots of
sorry. I'm going to be totally honest with you. My internet just timed out for a few seconds there, so I missed what you just said.
Oh, you know how we're fond of the movie The Rock?
Yes.
Yes, and lots of pieces of analysis, bits of meta as to why that movie works so well, and something of a a bit of a standout, I would say, for Michael Bay. It's kind of like, yes, that film has some really solid writing in it. I had no idea that there was this thing about the film where you had to write at least 50% of the script in order to be credited for having written it. Now, don't be searching anything, okay? All right?
Okay.
Don't touch anything. Do you know who contributed to the script of The Rock, specifically to its dialogue to help punch it up?
Is it Joss fucking Whedon?
No.
Oh,
Was it
okay.
was it Quentin Tarantino?
Yes, that's what.
Yeah, because he did a couple of
That is really fucking interesting.
for.
It's even more interesting than that. There's another person who's very well known for great dialogue who added to that film. It's not just Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah, because he did a couple of scripts for Jerry Bruckheimer. He came in and did
Armando Iannucci?
No. Well, I may as well. So I don't want to delay forever. But Aaron Sorkin.
Aaron Sorkin.
Right, okay.
I got to make a George
Tarantino.
Lucas joke.
Because
And
the
Sorkin
dialogue
did.
is unusually sharp and
Yes.
biting and witty in that movie.
I had no idea that Tarantino and Sorkin worked on The Rock. I was like, excuse me? Like, that's probably why
That's
I love
odd.
that movie.
I'm not the biggest
yeah.
Sorkin fan in the world, but yeah.
I mean, it takes a really good writing room to come up with
Humans don't
well-matched-
talk like Aaron Sorkin writes, but it's a thing. So people like
Why
it.
am I not surprised, you piece of shit?
I think him at his best can be excellent. Aaron
Yeah.
Sorkin, but,
Social
like,
Network was probably his best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I was just like, because they always made me wonder. And I was like, that's probably why there's so many iconic lines in that movie. Then I wonder how many of them were like, because they weren't credited.
The idea of Sean Connery doing Aaron Sorkin dialogue.
That's hilarious.
is just
Well,
fucking-
and the fact that most Aaron Sorkin dialogue, and I just talked about this with Will Kane. That's weird that he came up twice. It requires humans not to breathe. Like
Yes.
you would have
Yeah.
to take the longest breath before you like do your soliloquy of Aaron Sorkinism.
well, I think it's been passed through like the Michael Bay, Jerry Bruckheimer filter in order to make it work, and so like there's just
Well,
enough
but-
of that
and-
influence to make it viable.
And before they even did work on it, as far as I'm aware, Connery requested to the screenwriters. It was like their names are Dick Clement and Ian LaFrennay were brought on at his request to rewrite his lines and make them better. So like loads of people just walking onto the Rock script and being like, "Let me put this here, put this
so
here."
if other people write for Michael Bay, it's awesome.
Thing is, Michael Bay is like, as a visual director, I'm going to fucking hold him up there and say
I agree
he knows how to
with
do this
Richter,
stuff.
yeah.
He knows how to make things look fucking impressive.
I am not against the idea of teaming him up with a good writer, and you end up with a pretty solid movie.
I like
He-
a lot of his
He
movies.
did a good job on 13 Hours. That's a really solid film, and he was very restrained, and he made the
Yeah.
action very grounded and very real. It's a good movie. A lot of people haven't seen it, but it's
No,
Yeah,
I like that movie.
yeah.
I like that one.
So
There's very few movies that that one person can just handle the writing, producing, directing, all of that. That's a lot of different aspects that you have to be really good at. There's not many people in the world.
There's
that can do
very
that.
few people in the world who can make films. They've just flooded the market with a bunch of mediocre to not
gonna
very
say,
good talent.
Because
Yeah.
there's a lot of people in Hollywood making them that shouldn't be.
Yeah, that should not be there making them. It's a specialized
comment.
industry.
I gotta
Yes,
go see Sonic 3, so I gotta run.
No, we're gonna finish up
we're
now
outta here.
anyway. So
Real quick, I was going
Okay.
to say that the rule with it was the credited writing team had to contribute 50% to the final script, limiting the credits to essentially just the initial author plus one rewrite team. And Michael Bay wrote a letter of protest where he criticized the arbitration process as a sham and a travesty. And he said basically that people weren't getting the proper credit they deserved for the script for The Rock, which I didn't know any of
that's
this.
fair.
Yeah, that was like that's really cool. All these like very talented people work to make what I think is a pretty fucking cool film. So you know what, thumbs up.
Take a look at Carrie Fisher punched up dialogue wise back in the day. A lot,
Mhm.
a lot of movies.
Oh yeah.
Drinker, before we go, can I publicly thank you for doing the forward for my last book? Because that really
No, it was a
meant lot
pleasure.
to me.
Honestly, Lancey's book, is it Silver Screen Memories?
Journeys, there you go.
Silver
I'm
Screen
glad,
Journeys,
he
sorry,
could
yeah.
remember the title because he did write the forward for the
I was
book.
partially there. But yeah, I've read almost all of it now. And it is genuinely a lovely, heartwarming book. A great anecdote for like your experiences of watching movies. And it ties into that idea of like we attach a lot of meaning to movies based on like where we are in life when we see them.
Yep.
The personal experiences that go with it. And there's so many that you've had. that you relate in this book, and they're just great. They're so interesting to read, and that combined with a really good analysis of what makes those movies so interesting and compelling, it just makes for such a unique insight into the movie making process and like the end product. So I really enjoyed it. I would heartily recommend it for any film buffs out there.
Thank you very much. People have been writing to me and saying it's bringing up memories for them, because this has got the first movie I saw with my parents, the first movie I saw with my nan, the first movie I saw on my first date. All of those memories are attached to specific films. And the first time I, lied about my age to get into an 18, how we got in to see Terminator when I was only 14 years old. All those stories are in here from 1974 right through to 2024. One of the last films mentioned in here is Top Gun Maverick. So, and you've got me seeing Top Gun in the same cinema, sitting in the same seats practically, all the way back in 1986 with my first girlfriend. So, there's all these weird synergies like that. But anyone that loves movies will have all these kinds of memories of their own. And they're all here. So it's not just a movie review book. It's a timeline of cinema. And it also takes you back to those weekends when you had amazing opening first nights, when everybody was there. Everybody was there with their popcorn. People were not on their phones. This is a time in this book that's lost now in reality, sadly. So I'm hoping for the younger people that read it, it will give them an insight into how amazing it was to go to the cinema when the Lord of the Rings films came out, because they get a massive section in here, as does Star Wars and The Spy Who Loved Me and a whole load of other great movies from my childhood. So no, The Phantom Menace doesn't get mentioned. Someone just said in the chat. But I do mention another later Star Wars movie. The story attached to that is quite funny. It's got nothing to do with Star Wars.
Well, the younger people are going to be old by the time this show ends. I hate to be Scrooge, guys, but I have to get the fuck out of here. So
thank you, Chris.
Bye,
Chris.
Yeah. Thanks. Subscribe to Film Threat. Thank you.
Yes.
I love all you guys. Appreciate it.
Buddy.
All right.
Thanks, man.
Bye, boo boo.
Later.
Hey.
Later.
You're gonna fucking leave or what? Get the fuck out.
Get the fuck out
of here. What a fucking slick exit that was. I want to say as well, for everyone who's stayed, but not Chris because he bailed out early. Thank you guys for coming in.
Yeah,
like you guys.
Merry Christmas to Chris. Screw you.
Yeah,
Gore.
Fuck you. But no, genuinely, thank you guys, and thank you for everyone who's joined us for this open bar this evening, and for all your super generous super chats. As always, we will answer every single one that we didn't get through to tonight. We'll do it on our catch-up streams. But I want to wish you all of you guys a Merry Christmas. I hope you have an awesome time over the holiday period. This is our last open bar of 2024, but we will catch up with you in January. And for now, though, that is all we've got for this year. So go away now.
Merry Christmas.
Bye. Ho, ho, ho.
Timing.